Hell, it's BaseTradeTV.
Good morning. Hopefully I haven't messed this up too much. The camera angle is off. That's the don't spy on me FBI man while I'm not streaming camera angle, but okay, this is fixed now. But yes, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Olimoleague, one of the last of two casts we'll be doing. Well, I'll be doing. Because you're not signed up for tomorrow, right?
Correct.
So one of the last casts we'll be doing, but I'll still have one more tomorrow. Before we all disappear for TwitchCon, BlizzCon, and that whole circuit. So, yeah, this is going to be a fun day. Please note that as it is the Olimoleague, we have a 2-minute stream delay. So your responses will be delayed. If you sub, your shoutouts will come just a little bit later, all of that good stuff. But you'll notice I'm wearing different headsets than the last stream. I was very excited to get I haven't treated myself to something in a while, and I got myself a new pair of headsets, and they already broke, which is just fantastic. So I've gone back to my old Corsair Voids. These guys have never let me down. Kind of like Old Faithful here, but the reason I bring this up isn't to brag about new headsets. It's because the sound might be off again. Now I have, to the best of my recollection, restored all the sounds, like values and zombie grubs and all this stuff to where it was before I got the new headsets that changed everything. But there's a chance it's not correct. So please, guys, as always, just so I don't have to put this in the first game for once. If there's audio discrepancies, let me know so I can adjust. I want to make sure you guys watching are having the best experience possible and not having weirdly unbalanced audio. But on that note, for the first time live on stream so I can see where her levels are at, Zombie Grub, good morning, and how are you?
Hello. I'm all right. I have a decent number of hours of sleep, so yeah.
Okay, I think I got you where I wanted you, actually. That sounds pretty good on my end, but
Okay.
yeah. Let me know, folks. Aw, that's a nice message. Super Jimbo Rob, 2012. I've been watching this channel for about 4 years now. I don't have a lot of money, so I don't like to sub to channels, but just know if I could support you, I would. You and ZB, which I'm assuming is Zombie, have helped me a lot with your banter and StarCraft 2 content. I just want to say a big thank you. I'm sorry for teasing you a little bit. I just love bad grammar. Thank you very much for the very kind message, dude, and I'm glad you've enjoyed the content. I mean, the thing is, I love it, obviously, if people can give us money. I'm not going to pretend like that's not a thing, but if you're just here to watch the channel, you're watching the YouTube, VODs, whatever it is you're doing, if you like what we do, just keep watching. That's all I can ask for, so thank you.
Okay. The bracket is done.
Ooh.
It's final.
There were a lot of signups. I'm curious what the check-ins look like. Oh, there's a lot of check-ins too. Ooh.
Yeah. As far as really a good first match, I mean, Fantasy versus Lifeng is okay, and then there's Time versus Cell. I think Cell's a Taiwanese Protoss.
Well, what's been interesting is we've been having, and this is such a good healthy thing, right? We've been having more brackets, more rounds of 32s, more rounds of 16s with the Olimoleague than we've ever had in the past. And I think what's great is we can really just pick any of these and it doesn't fucking matter. Because everyone still gets weeded out by the Renovate anyways.
Okay.
But this is so nice. It's just actually nice having seeing a bracket this big is reminding me back of the days like 2015. Because even in Europe and North America, we're not seeing brackets of this size anywhere.
No, we're not. It is pretty sick. This is, I mean, the reason that the Olimoleague is also tomorrow is that BlizzCon is starting literally in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're not going to have, but the guys who made it to BlizzCon don't usually sign up anyways. Still, you see an opportunity for the other guys to go on vacation or to watch the finals, or, just take a break and not sign up. And that just seems not to be the case for Korea, where they're still coming out in droves.
No, my Rattata fell on the ground and smashed. Oh, no!
A very high level Pokemon. That
Well,
makes sense.
rest my poor little Lego Rattata. Okay, well, I'll leave you to steer the ship and pick whichever match you deem looking the best. We'll obviously enjoy probably whatever it is, but I have a small anecdote that I would like to get out of the way. As many of you have seen or recently learned, I play a lot of World of Warcraft when I'm not streaming, and I've made this joke before, but it's kind of a truth. where about 1 in every 2 to 3 dungeons I do, and then remember, these are groups of 5 people max, right? So 1 in every like 3 or 4 dungeons, whatever it is, there typically tends to be somebody who recognizes BaseTradeTV. So I recently just like started playing another character that's not named BaseTradeTV. This stopped, and it was kind of a blessing and a curse because it's kind of, you know, the ego doesn't get fed, but it's also just nice knowing that people won't be disappointed in you if you fuck up the dungeon, right? So I invited people onto our Discord yesterday to do said dungeon, and this guy joins, and he has this moment because, like, remember, they have no idea that I'm Rifkin or BaseTradeTV or anything. They join the BaseTradeTV Discord, and he does this thing that's kind of like, whoa, is this real? Is this really BaseTradeTV's Discord, like the YouTube channel? I'm like, yeah, dude. So I changed my name back to Rifkin so you could see it's me. And he's like, are you really Rifkin? And it was this really innocent, kind of cute moment, right? Anyways, the dude, bless his heart, for the entire dungeon was in tryhard. He was chugging potions on cooldown. He took a flask. He was using all the consumables to do the most DPS possible. And at the end, I'm like, do you want me to shout you out on stream or anything? He's like, yeah, give me a shout out. My name's Idra. I'm like, your name's not fucking Idra, okay? And like, he just kept naming off a lot of famous StarCraft players, obviously trying to impress that he knows StarCraft, right? I'm like, dude, you're fucking awesome. So there's a rogue out there somewhere in the universe. His name's like Familia. He's a really cool dude, and thank you for doing such a badass job in that dungeon last night.
Cool story. At least it didn't end with him going, you suck anyways, and then leaving.
I have had that happen before. There was the weirdest one I ever got was in PUBG. I wasn't streaming this, and I wasn't playing with anybody. I was just queuing into squads alone. And I remember getting in, and the guy's like, are you the real Rifkin? And I'm like, depends. Because that's what I always do, right? Because it's 50-50. Someone's going to love me or hate me or whatever. And he's like, you're a fucking sexist pig. And then he leaves the lobby. And I just sat there so flabbergasted, like, what just happened? What?
Sick.
So I've had the ups and the downs, but at least people know what StarCraft is, which is cool. Also, while I was talking, I didn't notice Crusher City's actually gifted us up to Super Supper Jim Bob. Thank you for that, dude.
Supper Jim Bob. Man, I don't know what, like, half the names in this chat are Chinese, Taiwanese. Like, a third of it is barcodes. Half of the players aren't here, and they all seem to be the half that, like, are needed to actually get a series going.
Well, it's also nice because Olimoleague is enforcing barcodes with clan tags this time, so it should be a little bit easier to identify them.
I mean, like 3 barcodes have the Chinese as their clan name.
Okay, so maybe it's not a perfect solution, but I'm just saying it's nice that we're, you know, because last week was really bad, right? Where it was like so many barcodes and no names.
Yeah,
at least
I guess.
it's starting to get enforced a little bit. It's so it'll make things easier to some extent.
Nah, I just don't have any game. Crank's in a lobby. I guess we'll just rename.
Works for me. Friends list hype. My voice cracks there. Ugh. I'm also going to struggle a little bit this morning, guys. I'm not sure if it's coming across in my speech or not, but I was telling Zombie Girl, I managed to burn my tongue eating breakfast, so it hurts a little bit. I made the mistake. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, though, because we don't need more memes. But I made a mistake to make it worse, and here I am. So, that being said, looks like we're getting in a Parasite for Game 1, Cure versus somebody. We'll see you on the map. Or not. Goodbye, Russian broadcaster.
this was the one I wanted. Goodbye, world.
Do we know who this is at all, or?
No. The bracket name is Unhanri. His Korean name is Chuli Sijo.
Yeah, well, he's a Masters player. He had about 4,700 MMR. So good luck taking on Cure. Now we'll see you guys in Parasite. All right, well, the name didn't become any more clear to us once loading in. Spotting here in the bottom right, a name that we can identify fairly easily. It is the Blue Terran Cure.
In the top left
Good luck.
has the purple Protoss. I mean, it depends on what you want to go by his name. Either it's bracket name in Hanuri, or it's his Korean name, or her, I guess. Let's see. Cholyul King. Oh, that's a clan tag. I don't know. Something like that, though.
It,
I don't know what to go by.
Their name just looks like, you know when you get like a brick of uncooked ramen noodles?
Yes.
That's what these characters remind me of.
Okay.
Like Justin Timberlake's hair circa 1999 type thing.
Wow. Oh. Well, I don't know if you want to start calling this guy Noodle Boy, but
Can we call him Justin? Shy for
guess you
Justin
could.
Timberlake.
It's not that difficult to say in Hanuri, but I will forget.
Yeah, for me, I've only realized this recently. I very much depend on reading the names in front of me. If I'm not looking and I try to talk about the player, that's when I tend to misspeak and call them by the wrong name, right? Like, you know, we've all done that at some point, right? You were just casting Innovation, you accidentally called Cure Innovation, and I've been watching because I watch a lot of my own VODs, right? I notice I do this every time when I remember I wasn't looking at the names on the screen, I was looking at the actions that were happening instead. So I'm gonna struggle with Mr. Purple over here.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we'll just say Purple Protoss until he dies. Because it's gonna be quick, I think.
Also, I don't know how this is for stream. If you guys have complaints, let me know, but the game sounds are really loud to me. I'm gonna turn these down. If it makes it too quiet for the stream, please let me know and I'll readjust, but I couldn't even hear Zombie up there for a second, so hopefully that's more manageable. But yikes, this has been a little bit of chaos. Well, goofing around about the name, I didn't realize Cure had actually gotten as far as to build a bunker in the mineral lines. Obviously, it didn't get finished, but the Reaper still finishing the game. Oh god, it's just like one proxy Reaper, and it's doing so well.
Well, a lot of the investment from a Protoss went into a double robo proxy, so you know the adept was late, so it had to be chronoed out, and then I mean it still won't be able to take care of two Reapers necessarily with Cure's micro. I mean, double robo as a proxy can be difficult to deal with, but soon enough, Cure should realize what's up.
You need workers to get the money to build from a double robo.
Yeah.
He has actually a decent amount of probes still standing. I don't know. He could probably sustain one robo production at the very least, but I think for Cure, like, because it's a robo, without a supported gateway army, like, you could just plus CVs into this, surround the Immortal, and you're good to go.
To an extent, sure, yeah. You know, usually the real power of this comes with the Warp Prism and Double Immortal, and then any amount of Warpins to supplement. If it's just an Immortal, easy peasy. If it's just a, you know, Warp Prism and an Immortal, still pretty easy. And that seems to be what's going to happen here, because, I mean, our Protoss just lost a lot of workers. He lost 8 this early on in the game. That's quite a substantial income difference. Now he's going to lose at least one pylon. He's going to lose warp gates, so forget about the potential warpins I was talking about. I mean, you can still lose it. I think Kier's giving this a little too much credit.
Yeah, not in the safe zone just yet. Actually, the Cyclone positioning itself between the gateway and the assimilator would be the best, and it couldn't get surrounded. Not that it matters, it's still going to annihilate things, and there you go. Texas way. The two Immortals start advancing the front lines too. The Cyclone pops a shield on one, but unfortunately the Cyclone's on the wrong side of the supply depot, so it goes down pretty quick. Banshee coming out next should be the whole easy hold on this, but of course that Warp Prism should be with the Immortals to save them. Should be, yes. This would have been very tricky if he hadn't been able to do as much early game damage and there was like a shield battery or something, or simply this attack happened sooner, like he wouldn't have sent the Cyclone across the map. This could be a really tricky thing to hold. Any type of aggression to a proxy, even if you have the factory and starport at home, which is your best case scenario for the defense, is still, it can be hard. But it's just way too much lost mining. He just taps out. Yeah. Oh well, GGA for effort and all that. Now I believe I didn't actually check to fix the overlay. That was a best of 3, right? Or that is? Or is that best of 1?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had a
No, it is best of 3. Okay.
We're in the second round, so.
Cool. I just had to double check because I wasn't sure if I had done that wrong. So, A for effort. I think when you're going up against somebody prolific like Cure, and you know that you're just outranked and outclassed, doing something cheesy I think is the right move. You're not gonna out macro him. I mean that's pretty clear. So I don't blame the loss or anything. The Reapers definitely were unfortunate. And maybe, just maybe, there's a world where double robo works on most general Terrans, but that was still pretty one-sided.
Well, it's also just a good call. It'd been like, I mean, if this was his actual league, where you said it was like 46, 4,700 or something, or alternatively, if he was in Cure's league, it's not a bad build to do. Like that's, you know, SOS was just basically being as aggressive as his opponent to actually make proxies not look as good, because it's a fair bet that you're going to be proxied in some way or another. And does it always work? No, especially against the really smart Terrans, but it can work.
Well, we're gonna hop into Fracture for game 2. See you guys on the map. Well, things are already a little different in game 2. We'll see if you guys pick up on it before we clarify it. Spotting here on the top left, we got the blue Terran player. It's Cure up 1-0 in this best of 3.
In the bottom right now is a Zerg player. Was he random? I thought he was Protoss. It is Purple Zerg. We're done.
It's Purple Zerg Justin.
Yeah. I thought he chose Protoss last game.
I thought he did too, but maybe...
Okay, alright, well...
Well, see, maybe intentionally swapping too, just realizing Protoss wasn't going to work. I don't know.
I mean, sure. It is very possible. Generally, as far as like tournament rules go, it's like the safest bet is that you can play... You can choose your race per series, but you usually cannot choose your race per game. But, you know, this is an online league. I don't know if Liver really cares, because let's be real, with how many pros of top-notch high quality there are in the Olimoleague, if someone wants to like race swap, that's on them to lose the game pretty much. Like if Alive wanted to race up the Zerg, he's probably not going to get top 4. So okay, this is just a thing, and obviously like Crank's in here, so he would know it's totally fine to do. This is what is Cure doing though? Cure's actually doing an anti-Protoss build, so I'm not sure he noticed it was Zerg.
Well, it still might.
Funny.
I mean, it's funny because it's a proxy. By the end of the day, it could still work out. Again, it's more about the player than the tactic in this situation.
Yes, it's very true. I mean, when I was using Overlord, I don't... There we go.
Okay, Cure for sure didn't realize there's a race swap or a random or something. Also,
Yeah.
I gotta give a shout out to Akuma. He's been gifting out subs to random awesome people over the last few minutes. Get those subs summarized and shouted out appropriately. But for Cure, this is a little bit rough. With the Ling's already on top of this, he's not gonna be able to produce too much too efficiently. If that Hellion comes out, it's just one Hellion.
Yeah. So I don't know if they know each other, but I think... I literally don't know, but it is kind of an awkward situation that our Zerg seems to be pretty happy about. This seems to be exactly what he was hoping for. But it's kind of funny, though, because you really never get the opportunity. Usually, a caster is like, hey, did you mean to be Zerg? You know, they cancel before they see. So maybe this guy messaged Crank like, hey, I want to play Zerg next, to make sure not to have that happen. Usually, they look at the in-game screen and see like, oh, shit, that's like a Zerg portrait. But I guess it's a bit different nowadays, so I just didn't know.
We didn't pay attention. I would love if this guy did what I did against Coca and just like during the countdown at the last second swapped it over.
Yeah, we definitely were paying attention, and it's fair to say that most pro gamers will not pay attention to that.
Well, why would you? I mean, in this situation, there's no reason to really pay attention for something like that.
This could easily end in a Zerg victory, by the way. Like, the fact that he's Baneling busting, because it's actually a really good call. You see such a failed attempt at a push, a proxy. The Hellion number is not going to be as high as it should be. I mean, the starboard doesn't finish that fast, so this could do a lot of damage. But he doesn't have enough Banelings yet. That's awkward. There you go.
5 to bust. There you go. The Banshee should still hold this, though, I think, even at the end of the day. The Hellions have cleaned up enough of the Lings that it shouldn't be too problematic, but he's got to pop that Baneling. Okay, well, that works. Not maybe the way he wanted it to, but it still works.
He had an opportunity to actually kill all those Hellions. There you go, finally tapping all of them. And once the Hellions are gone, that's usually when a Ling flood gets really bad, but this actually wasn't executed like to the best of the ability. We even have like Lings being caught on the barracks back home. And those like 4 to 8 extra Lings every now and again is the difference of snowballing against those Hellions or not. So, I mean, if the attack doesn't work, it's actually just even without Kier having a command center, I think that's like Kier's going to win this game.
Yeah, on SCVs alone, if nothing else. While this was going on, we had a donation come in from Jazzvan, by the way. Thank you, Jazzvan, for the $6.88. Says, intros are good, smiley face. I'm glad you enjoy them. Put a lot of work into them. Then also, as I said, Akuma's been gifting out some random subs to other familiar faces you guys might recognize. Him gifting a sub to my roommate, apparently, Dream and Pastels, Special, Boss Toss MC, Zerg Girl, and Scorpling. Thank you, Akuma, for those gifted subs.
It's 100 gifted subs on this channel. 100. Pretty cool. Well, scanning for the follow-up all in, I suppose, in the natural. Misses the lair at the main. But that's okay. Kier just there's the one chance I think was a Ling Baneling bust. That was not a bad idea. The execution was a little wonky, and without killing this pro gamer Terran nice and quick and easy, like you just aren't gonna win. Basically, I'm calling it. I'm saying it right now. He's not gonna win.
I mean, I want to disagree with you and provide some counterpoints, but alas, I cannot.
Yeah, good luck with that. I guess, someone's gonna be like, well, he's follow-up balling it. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. It's not, but it is the most obvious idea. It's, you either take a third base and start losing your third to the queens, or you try and take a Nidus, which is easily scouted, and that's the most likely easily deflected off, what is a more extreme low drone count than normal for a 2-base Nidus Swarm. It's bad.
Oh, no cancel. Yeah, there's the GG.
Yeah, with tears.
Little delayed, but all right. Cure will advance on through the brackets, and that's your warm-up game for the Olimoleague, folks. So that was a round of 32 game. Remember, this is a round of 64 matches. That's insane.
Oh, Olivia, literally, like, he advanced the bracket just before that game even ended. Saw that coming.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I mean, when she put it as a 2-0 before the game even ended.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oof. All right, well, folks, we'll see if there are other matchups immediately available. We may find ourselves waiting for a moment or two here, but there are a lot of really good names on this bracket and a lot of fun players. I particularly would love to see Gumio versus Ragnarok as a potential matchup, but if you guys want to see the brackets yourselves, you just have to type !brackets into the Twitch chat. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back in a few minutes after this break. All right, guys, thanks for watching that quick break for us. I don't even know if the ads played because they've been broken for the last couple weeks. So you hear me double check that. But regardless of whether ads play or not, just again, thank you for waking up early enough to join us for some Korean StarCraft 2. I know that many of you are joining us from the front page and maybe never heard of our channel before, our humble little home. And for those who are perhaps tuning in for the first time, I should explain really quickly that and I don't want you to be confused by this. We're not here to advertise professional StarCraft casting. It's not to say we'll be super unprofessional or ridiculous, but if that's what you're expecting here, that's not what you're going to get. So that being said, if you enjoy having two friends who enjoy StarCraft 2, casually enjoy the game alongside many hundreds and dozens of others who also enjoy StarCraft 2, then this is the place for you. But man, I gotta say really quick, we did an Artosis versus In Control show match last week, which was admittedly kind of fun, mostly because I think a lot of us, myself included, were really invested in the people more than the games. And this particular YouTube video has garnered more views than pretty much most other videos we have. In fact, it's already ranking in our like top 10 of all time or something. But man, have I never ever needed to curate our comment section nearly as badly as I've had to for this video. And it's like kind of disappointing because there are some good comments, don't get me wrong, but there's people who are posting really dumb things like, no wonder In Control's wife left him. I'm like, excuse you? What? Where do you think that belongs here? Deleted. Or Tosis looks like a nerd rager. Does anyone know if he even plays the game?
Jesus.
I really don't like deleting comments because I feel like a lot of the time, even if it's someone being kind of shitty, it's usually criticism for me to look at in some way or another, or some sort of feedback, even if I don't agree with it. But man, not for this video. I've seriously deleted like maybe 4 comments in total for all of 2018 prior to this video. In this video, I've had to delete like 60 plus comments.
I've really been thinking about like that recently, not a ton, but a little bit, where it's like, what makes these communities so vastly different in the amount of shittiness that there are? Like, because like it's basically like Team Liquid probably is the least shitty, even though there are still really dumb threads and comments. And that maybe you could be like, well, they had a really harsh mod team, and anyone who's left is pretty much like a hardcore fan, and sure, okay, maybe that. But then there's like Reddit that actually is not as shitty as like YouTube, and then YouTube actually might still be shittier than BattleNet forums. But BattleNet forums are also pretty bad. So well, what happens? What is missing?
Well, the thing is, like, I just gave a couple of extreme examples, but honestly, most of the comments I've been getting rid of are these very clear elitist Brood War people who are very upset that there was even a StarCraft 2 match in the first place, but also getting just unreasonably upset that we're referring to StarCraft 2 as StarCraft. I'm like, look, man, when I'm casting the game, I'm not taking a moment to make a distinguishing like difference between the two. That to me is not important.
Jesus. Yeah, certainly they're kind of the worst, but they've all been like shoved off into their corner on the Brood War part of the Team Liquid forum. As someone who likes Brood War and knows there's like a decent amount of cool people in the scene, but yeah, good lord, like yeah.
Well, a quick shift in topics because I can predict this. No one's actually written this in chat yet, but I feel it coming. It's been like 3 minutes, right? This is the bracket. And we're currently waiting for a match to be available because these are the matches we were just in, we just finished. So a lot of these games are currently underway or already playing, so we can't really just jump into them, unfortunately. But as you can see here, you've got possibly Trap versus Tasia. You've got Cure versus possibly Impact or Time. Like, there's a lot of these games coming up, but unfortunately, it does look like we'll be kind of in limbo land for a small period of time while we wait for these games. So there's the quick update. So we continue to just shoot the shit as to why you're staring at our faces and not more game time stuff. But also, thank you quickly to Betimus Max for that 23-month resub. And Yangola Big E for the 3 months Prime. Says, yay, Rifkin rocks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accept that compliment. Woo.
Looks like Crank is casting Gumiho's game. I am certainly in favor of casting either Cure's game versus Impact or Time. or Trap versus Tasia. And Tasia, I think, is going to
I-
2-0 this nerd very soon.
I think I'm a little bit more in favor of Tasia, not because I necessarily think it'll be the better match, but we haven't really got to see a lot of Tasia, right? Like, he did okay in the QCL, but his team got dropped pretty quick, so I wouldn't be too upset if we got to actually watch some Tasia. But both of those matches, or potential matches, I should say, sound very appealing.
Yeah. They always do. But yeah, I'm watching Taja's stream. I don't know if he has it late or not. So he's been proxying this guy, and guy hasn't handled it, so should be any time now. I'm just gonna get Trap in here. That's the wrong guy.
Well, while we're on Limbo Land here, so to talk a moment, you're not going to TwitchCon, but you are going to BlizzCon, correct?
Correct.
All right, so then for me, guys, just where things will be, I'll be at both TwitchCon and BlizzCon. And what kind of was awkward and worked out was like, and thank God for Zombie Grub for being like an adult who notices things like this. I hadn't realized the attention to detail was I would get back from TwitchCon originally, stay in Vancouver for like 6 hours, and have to fly out for BlizzCon. Instead, now I'm just going straight from San Jose to LAX or whatever. But yeah, so I'll be pretty much gone from the 25th till November 4th, I think is when we get back, or I get back at least. I'm not spending a lot of extra time because I want to get back to the stream quicker rather than later. But yeah, there will be a large gap in content for about a week. So like I said, this will be mine and Zomgrab's last cast together for a little while, and then tomorrow will be the last cast period. I'll probably just end up soloing it. I don't know if I'll find somebody last second, but I'll probably end up soloing it tomorrow, because if you guys don't know, tomorrow is a different, not usually this way, but the Olimoleague Grand Finals for the month, or the monthly finals, will be happening tomorrow. As Zombie had mentioned earlier, this is because BlizzCon is eating up the schedule of everybody, including the players, but also Olivia and others who might be traveling. So yeah, that'll be finishing up tomorrow for the month.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, there's a familiar name, by the way. Thank you, Matrum, for that sub. Hello, hello. Tier 3ing it up for 3 months running. I actually spoke to Matrum recently, if you guys recall, or some of you may not know. He's given out the most subs of anybody on the channel as far as gifts. And I've had one emote slot in reserve for him to dedicate an emote to him. Now, this isn't like a permanent thing that'll last throughout history, but at least for a little while, right? Give him an emote slot. And hopefully we'll get that done soon. But hey, buddy, good morning. Oh, also, on the note of going to TwitchCon and BlizzCon, by the way, I don't have them in my hands to show you because the shipping was delayed. But supposedly by end of day, according to UPS, I will have 300 BaseTradeTV marble pins. It's our marble ball, but in pin form. I spent quite a good chunk of my own change, not just because I thought it'd be cool to hand out. So if you guys are going to be at either event, please, I beg you, even if you don't want to talk to me, you don't want to hang out with me, that's fine. Just come get a pin, because I have no need to bring 300 of these to the United States and not give them away for free. So if you see me and I've got some on me, I want to hook you up.
Hook you up. All right. That'd be cool. Sounds nice. Tasia did win, so let's get him in here.
Woo. Yeah, we've been sitting in a lobby with Trap for Fracture as the first map. So small map for this one. What is Innovation's portrait?
What portrait?
Oh, he's using like the WCS 2018 portrait. Like the trophy. And he just looks really weird. I gotta show you guys in game real quick. Like, subtle brag, look at Innovation on my friends list, am I right, guys? It looks like a little, what are those called? Like Inukshooks? You know,
Okay,
they would,
Innovation?
yeah. And it goes really well with the Grandmaster border that he has.
What the hell are you talking about? What are Nookshooks?
Hang on, let me Google to see if I use the right word first. Yeah, it looks like a little Inukshuk, like INUKSUK. It's like, what was it, like the Inuit and stuff. They like built those little stone statues.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I'll put it on the
I'm
screen
lost here,
anyways for other people. But
Okay.
yeah, this, to me, looks very much like what's in his portrait at the moment. Anyways, as you guys can see, though, we are in the game. We have both players in the lobby. As soon as they are ready to go, because Tasia might need a moment, we'll get into casting this.
It's probably trapped that just alt-tabbed.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Whatever, whoever. As soon as both players are good to go, we'll get back into some actual StarCraft 2. BaseTradeTV, maybe you have a sub as a caster. Oh, Errol DM was a novel concept of an idea. I've told this story a couple of times, so I don't expect everyone to know it. But let's do the intro, and I'll tell the story in game. Here we are for Fracture. Alright, folks, welcome to a brand new best of 3. Got an interesting lineup of players here for you. The top left, it's the blue Protoss Trap. Said that like a question mark, but no, it's definitely Trap.
It's definitely him. The bottom right, as the red Terran. Use Tasia?
Thanks, Zombie Grub, you've always got my back. But, excuse me. Well, we will watch this match unfold. Just to quickly explain, the reason I don't bring people on to cast is because 5 years ago I was betrayed and I'll never ever trust again. And I say that a bit jokingly, but the truth is I brought somebody on to co-cast with me. Chat had recommended this person highly in good regards, invite this person on. They just proceed to moon the camera with a fully naked butt, and I realized I've been trolled. So from that point on, trust has been broke. It's like, as an adult, I can now afford high quality toilet paper, but I still use too much of it because as a child I was betrayed by One Ply. So I will never trust again. Great analogy, I know.
Yeah, thanks. It's also, it's like, if it's not something extreme like that, it's other things as well. Like there's a good reason as to why you have a, curated set of people that you trust to cast, over just like, hey, especially as your channel gets like really big, even if they don't, again, like, moon you, then there's still other problems that could happen. But anyways, we did not have a proxy from Tasia. Now he proxied the last proxy he faced like twice in a row, but that could be like a respect thing, definitely, where you didn't really know who the other guy he was facing. This is probably just masters, similar to what we cast in the last series, right? But versus Trap, not feeling so comfortable. I don't know if Trap is particularly good at dealing with proxies or not. We get to cast this guy like somewhat frequently, so I don't know if it's maybe it's too on the nose on Fracture. Maybe we see it later on in the best of, but we get to see Tasia's macro game versus a Protoss, which we've seen in CVT. I would say it looks like his best, off of like a very small little like data size, right? And then TDZ has looked a little wonky pacing wise, and I don't remember what a CVP looked like.
Well, objectively, it's going to be just interesting to watch them tear in macro anyways, because this is like a weird proxy culture we're in, where it's the assumed normal.
It's true, yeah. It's like not just even like a Tasia, like, oh, what's he doing? It's like,
what
is Terran doing?
That juke out was really nice too, by the way. The Reaper hops up, gets out of there alive.
Oh, and then not only does the Reaper live, but that command center finished. The Adept thought it could get into the main base and continue kind of snowballing because there's only like 2 Marines, and by doing that, he missed the opportunity to delay the command center. It's 5 seconds delay, but I think that these are the very tiny things that when you're playing the game, you're like, oh, that's super cool. Like Terran's cool race, like whatever.
I just noticed, like, I've never really pieced this together till now, but you say snowballing, and it's like actually what the Adept does when it attacks. Just chuck out little snowballs, dude.
I feel like you've actually noticed that before, or maybe last time it was like or something. Like I don't know. I feel like you brought this up.
Well, regardless, the snowball effect technically real, but not happening.
Oh.
Oh, this was a big error. He had all the Marines in the natural mineral line. You anticipating something like this? Looks like this will get too out of hand.
The Cyclone is here for the Oracle, which you can still help out against, because unfortunately this wasn't perfectly timed. It was kind of like a, oh, I got in, like I'll try, but he probably wanted to wait and have 3 Adepts in Oracle in the natural. They would have slaughtered all of the Marines. The site will have to come down and kind of pick and choose what to kill, and that would have been better. But it's all, you know, it's one of those like, oh, I even got in, let's try this.
I mean, I doubt that was intentional out of Tasia, but if it was, that's actually the sickest, most genius move ever.
I don't know about that. I don't know. A lot of Protoss, it feels, have been going into triple Oracle, or maybe I've just been casting at an extreme amount of Trap. He does play in the Ballistic Sprawl as well, I guess.
Well,
like, I'm kind of confused, but I don't even know if I like it, but it keeps happening.
Well, we've seen Trap actually a lot, so yeah, maybe you threw the Ballistic Sprawl, but just through everything. Like, Trap has been kind of akin to Cure in that way, like just playing in mostly every event he sees. And on that note, I will go tisk tisk, because the timing of the attack shouldn't have been off like that, but oh, no. The Viking's been brought across the field, not aware that he needs all the defense at home, all hands on deck. These are 3 Oracles coming in. They're gonna melt that Cyclone. They could probably deny Stim. In fact, I'd love to see him do that over going for SCV kills.
Oh, well, that is what can happen when you go for more than 1 Oracle, especially up to 3, right? Is that you can kill those production, well, not production facilities, but the upgrade facilities, I suppose. And that's what we used to see happen, right? It was like, I mean, who was the first guy that did it? SOS, I think, maybe? I don't remember, but he went right for that Stim. And it was like, oh, wow, that's really annoying. Because, like, how often are you going to be able to respond quickly enough? You don't have Stim. He's always going to be able to cancel it. But it's like not what we've been seeing from Trap with the triple Oracle. And it's, again, like I hate to harp on it so much because I know there's got to be like a very legitimate reason as to why it's kind of becoming a thing again. Oh, this is just going to be good. But it's, you know, the triple Oracle, like 2 Oracle is already expensive, but 3 Oracle, 3? That's a Robo there. Robo and Immortal. Something a little more helpful if the stasis traps don't work out.
Well, the stasis trap here, in effect, did. As you guys will notice, he stopped dead in his tracks to turn around. Not because he was worried about losing the Marines, of course, but he just needed the extra power with the attack. Revelation now tags his army. He sends a Marine forward. I mean, a couple force fields on this ramp. There's not enough medevacs to lift everything over. I'm not worried for Trap at all in terms of the defense. Not right now, at least.
Tasia might not be so worried about doing an offense either. I tried very poorly to do an opposite sentence to your statement. Because he doesn't have combat shields, right? It's he does have +1 Marauder Slow, but like the combat shield was either a little bit late or just like this is the timing that he usually has. But the point is, it's not an ideal scenario to even try and break up against the sentries. But this is the one benefit of Fracture defensively, is that you do have these chokes and ramps if you keep eyes on the army, which more than 1 Oracle should certainly be good at doing. Fighting got bopped.
Yeah, having information on Tasia is going to be key. Like, absolutely, these Revelations are the most valuable spell he could cast. It allows Trap to do something risky like that. Blink in and snipe a medevac off. Taking away a lot of power from Tasia, because, of course, now if he stims, he can't heal that up.
Yeah. This is some really good control. I mean, he got away, basically, for free for getting that medevac. These Oracles could certainly come in. You don't really build missile turrets against Oracles as a Terran player. Oh, whoa, he actually goes up the ramp here. Does do a hop pickup to save some of his army, and it's not a terrible trade there.
No, actually, I thought that went pretty decently.
That was, I mean, that seemed like kind of even. It's one of those things where if he had been able to target on the sentries, it probably would have even been better for Tasia, but only grabbed whatever units on the front line.
I do like that he advances Widowmine's up too. Just a chance to get that shut off. No detection at the moment. Widowmine will miss its shot on the Stalkers, unfortunately, but even with the Zealots coming in, they don't have charge yet. Bit of a bad timing here, 10 seconds to go, so they can't quite connect to the army, and concussive shells keeps them at bay. Oh, Tasia. It's not doing amazing GG damage, but that was a pretty good fight, considering he was set up for a bad engagement with those force fields.
Yeah, I guess Trap was literally setting up a trap. He like brought his sentries back as opposed to just continuously spamming a block on the ramp. He brought them back, kind of let Tasia in. I feel like it almost backfired, and if Tasia knew he was going to do that, it could have. But these Oracles are doing some pretty nice damage. Instead, I was trying to explain, like, you don't really get missile turrets at all. But at third base, you would hope that the Oracles are too busy scouting your army.
He just got both of the freshly dropped mules, too. That's going to sting for Tasia.
Yeah. Now, luckily, you don't lose a lot of momentum on this map when you have to pull back to defend something. So that's, I guess, like a good part of it being a very small map. But he certainly does lose the momentum. Trap was doing a fantastic job of holding regardless, and now he's on his way to Storm, which is something that Tasia really can't take on without either a very sizable bio army or some of those Liberators, because I don't think he's going to be able to get the Ghosts soon enough. But those Widowmines get some really good shots. The entire Zealot army dies, and it's Marauders versus Stalkers. Tasia not feeling too confident to move in, tries to redirect. I'm surprised by that.
I was really curious. He hasn't taken the time to knock down these rocks, which certainly helped with trying to push up this ramp.
Yes, that's a good point as well. I thought he was going to push the 4th base. That's there was like no Immortal at the time that he saw, and he knows there's a 4th base. Well, kind of anyways, because there's a pylon there.
I think he was just waiting on the Widowmine cooldowns, by the way, because now they're available.
Yeah,
he burrows them and moves up.
I guess that's a safer play in case there's like another 7 charge lots on the way. 9 SVs went down. Again, there's like a lot of harassment. 10, just a single Zealot, couple Zealots in the natural.
Yikes. Not
bad, but the Nexus does go down.
Oh, and supply blocks trap too.
Oh.
That was unexpected.
Oh, but the Liberators now, well, they would love to make sure that he can never be chased by those storms, but this is some really nice harassment by Trap to bring that army back.
Yeah, this is something that can't be ignored any longer. That War Prism's caused a lot of chaos. I will note, by the way, Trap is in a lot of very tactical pickoffs, right? Like, it doesn't sound like a lot to really brag about, but, you know, grabbing the Liberators, grabbing the Medivacs, and all of these without too much risk to his own Stalkers. Like, he's done some really great grabs, but all things considered, I still don't know that this army deficit is something he's going to overcome. Storms are beautiful, but there's also a hell of a lot of Widowmines. There's a lot of splash damage on both sides of the field.
If he can keep the Liberator count down, then I truly believe in the amount of storms that he has. But that's what Tasia would love to try and make sure doesn't happen. Unfortunately, he also has to continue producing Medivacs as he's been perusing so much with his army. Just is out of Medivac energy. There's too many fights, too many stims. So it's a very hard balance for a Terran.
Not only that, but also the fact that, you know, Trap has been picking them off. Like, these Stalkers have been doing a lot of those tactical snipes like I discussed. Now, this Templar are a little exposed, but unfortunately, Tasia only grabs about 2 of them.
Yeah, it was scary. They almost... I thought they were going to run into the Widowmines accidentally. These Zealot run-bys have been so crucial. Like, Tasia's been doing an excellent job. I guess it is Oracles as well, but also, like, it's both, right? Because there's a Warp Prism this entire time in the bottom. I thought it was a pylon, to be honest, but... Anyways, it's pulling him back. It's taking away the focus from the fight, in which occasionally he would have an advantage, a momentum edge. Oh no!
This is the I'm fed up move.
Yeah, it really is.
GG. I don't know that Tasia was so far behind he needed to do the I'm fed up move, but I don't blame him either.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, if he takes a fight on the high ground with a concave, it still only goes marginally better because he just simply did not have an answer to the storms. Splitting will only ever do so much. So, I guess, yeah, just say, you know, F it. But tough game. If he hadn't pulled back like 4 or 5 times, he might have been able to take it.
Well, it's game 1 in a best of 3, and it was a small map that he chose not to proxy on. Maybe we'll see a different side of Tasia, depending on what the map is. Luckily, it is his choice, so he gets to pick. And
he makes the map with Game Heart, Rifkin.
Is Tasia just your favorite Terran, dude?
I have a new crush.
Alive who?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Lost and Found. Pretty much like the most picked safe map. This and Acid Plan, I think, but...
He even makes me referee.
Yeah, but he also made me referee, so...
Oh, yeah, of
All
course.
Right, let's hop into Lost and Found, guys. See you on the map. Unfortunately, nothing too interesting happening in this game so far, so spawning in the top right. Staying at home, we have the blue Terran player, Tasia. Not proxying.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, he is Trap. Also not proxy. Not that that's something you should know.
I guess, well, entirely possible. Trap could be doing a proxy. Yeah, it's not. What's this question here out of Mech Xavier? BaseTradeTV, what country is currently your largest viewing country? As far as this particular stream, they changed some stuff about that. I don't know if I can see that right now. But in general, it tends to be USA, number one. Then under that, either Korea or Germany, depending on the time zones. Then Canada and Switzerland or Sweden, and then just random countries after that.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
I would presume it's going to be the same for now.
Yeah, I would assume that too. While we have a normal opener here, the next is going down because this probe knows what's going on. Since I've seen multiple comments, and I'm sure some are trolling, some are just usual, like, yo, kick bad person, lost the game. Some of them might be legitimate. This guy, Tasia, all right, I don't think overrated is a word you could really use for him during his professional years before military, first of all. You could maybe use it now, but when you consider how fast he got this good, he is the best comeback player of the people you can imagine, right? So like fantasy, parting.
Yeah, look at
actually, that's kind of it, right?
Well, there was the reference I was going to make was MMA, but then he kind of even fell off a little bit too.
Yes.
So without a doubt, like many people, Supernovas and all the ones you listed, like
yeah, there you go.
Tasia's definitely had the best comeback story of all the players who were retired and returned to the game. And I've seen this in comments too, right? The guys say, oh, he's better off just going to Brood War and stuff like that. Whatever, guys. Play with what your heart desires. Like, who cares if some random troll thinks you're not great at StarCraft 2? If Tasia still enjoys playing StarCraft 2, I say more power to him. And to be honest, if he has watched his stream, I think it's safe to say he actually enjoys playing the game.
The Brood War thing I feel is just like funny because I don't think Tasia was, if he played Brood War, he was never particularly good at it. I mean, I guess everyone played Brood War, but it's just, not professionally. So it's like one of those things you'd say to fantasy. Fantasy is the one where like you basically go na boo boo. A Brood War pro gamer actually like StarCraft 2 more. Suck it. But for Tasia, not so much. But anyways, like my ultimate point was to point out how fucking good this guy is, and Liquid hiring him definitely makes him, bringing him back, whatever you want to call it. Like it's not like a pity, like, oh, welcome back to the family. It's like, well, this guy's gonna get us a lot of money, probably. So, this is a good pickup, and Tajia's performing really well, even though he lost that last game. We do have the depth pressure that's a scary. Oh, that was actually
didn't even see that.
Well, needed a trap, and that's an important part because he could have done the thing he didn't do last game, which was combine all of his units and try and hit the natural. And
he's done a bit of a swap with that Widowmine too, which is cool. Chat might come in here thinking like, okay, you know what, the Widowmine's on cooldown, I got 30 seconds to get in. But he swapped the Widowmines, the one that is available, well, the other one will be off cooldown now too, but the point is he's got a Widowmine per mineral line. These oracles will not be nasty like before, and in fact, the Viking on top of this is huge. The Viking last game flew across the map, landed, killed like a probe, and that was like it.
This is going really well. I think Tasia reading really into how Trap potentially could have played that last game. And then also just in general having this composition against someone who's going to be generally aggressive and kind of map dominant with those units. Like that is Trap. Trap to me is a Stargate player who plays with the depths. He's actually one of the few Protosses that still regularly, I think, does Resonating Glaive builds with like Phoenix as well, though he hasn't shown that yet today. So this is just good read. Trap is making slight mistakes as well to kind of let these units be lost, like that one at depth, the damage on the Oracle, but very, very small stuff. Otherwise, he is still looking okay, but he does miss this army. Tasia misses the proxy pylon, and there's no bunker. So I think this might go worse for Tasia. Huh.
I'm gonna put an asterisk on that. I think a lot of this could come down to some decision making. Like, Trap, does he stay too long before recalling? Does he recall right away? Oracles get split and segmented to come home. Ooh, landing the Viking, I don't like.
I don't know. It's not really a base trade because they cannot kill each other's bases that quickly with these small of armies, but it's a general idea, right? Like the faster you can quick kill your opponent, the better. No. Unfortunately, the Oracles really help out here, and that is just it.
Oracles are pretty powerful, as it turns out. I did not expect an abrupt death for Portasia. I don't think anyone else did either. Definitely came as a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, abrupt 2-0. It kind of sucks.
It does, but hey, we got to see some Tasia, which was nice because I haven't got to see any Tasia really since his return. We also have another matchup that hasn't played out yet that might be available for us next, and that's I think Krankus Cast and Gumio versus Cloudy. They're in game 2 at the moment. Winner plays Ragnarok. Might be nicely lined up. If not, we can always catch a gimme with Innovation, or on the bottom side we have Solar versus potentially Bunny. So there's a couple of good games that are shaping up for this, even though we mismatched this one. The other round of 16 games are looking pretty good, and of course, the round of 8 will look better beyond that, etc., etc. I guess a quick rundown, though, before we go to break again or anything like that, folks, is if you are unfamiliar with the Olimoleague, it's just your standard single elimination Korean weekly tournament. In fact, just a little, there you go, display capture thing. And when we just get a free-for-all whatever matches we can up to this point. We will always cast both semifinals and the grand finals, so it's 2 best-of-3s and a best-of-5 guaranteed, despite whatever the rigmarole is getting to it. So while we've had some downtime and maybe some quick matches, we should have a couple more games before we're into the guaranteed matches with those semifinals and such. But we'll get into that in a moment. We are going to be heading to a break, but before we do go to break, I want to quickly just remind everybody who is coming from the front page for the first time that this is StarCraft 2, but think of it more as like StarCraft 2 with your friends. I just don't want people to have the wrong impression, expecting super professionalism and things like that, because it's not something we advertise. Although, granted, we still pretty much rock every cast. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want people getting all upset because, like, oh my god, they're talking about something other than the game for 3 seconds. That's unhearable. Why can't they be like Artosis and Tasteless, who never get off topic about the game? YouTube commenter 45567. But at any rate, folks, we have many more games ahead of us. It's just a matter of navigating the brackets to find them. So stick around. Be back with some more StarCraft 2 in a few. Thanks for watching.
Look at the sky, the sun won't ask for what if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lights that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask, the sun won't ask, the sun won't. The sun won't ask, 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 the world will take their ride. Sunlight begins to fade now.
Hey folks, for the Took a few more seconds than expected, was responding to a question in chat from That's Nothing. He says, hi, serious question. Where do I catch your content apart from a live stream? I noticed you don't have a YouTube. Is there a place you store your finished tournaments? Yes. First off, if you guys ever miss a live stream here on Twitch, granted, Twitch VODs are not the best place because Twitch VODs kind of suck sometimes, but if you can get them to work, Twitch VODs are not subscriber gated. You don't have to be subscribed to access the past videos here on the channel. So if you want to see anything we've cast, go for it. Otherwise, we do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. It is perhaps the slowest growing StarCraft 2 channel. Man, it's killing me. I love the guys. Respect to them. Like Loco kills it, Winter kills it. Their YouTube channels are blowing up. I think we've gotten about 1,000 subscribers in 3 years. Fuck, it feels so bad, man. But anyways, yes, we do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. If you want extra content, we do have a Discord server, which we do a lot of the non-stream conversation stuff on. Sometimes it's just posting memes, sometimes it's updates, sometimes it's giveaways for the subscribers. Either way, we do a lot of stuff on our Discord, so I would definitely recommend checking that out too. You can type !Discord in the chat, or it's just discord.gg/BaseTradeTV. Been, I don't know, these last 3 months really trying to work extra hard at putting stuff in outside of our Twitch content, but it's really tough because, and I'm not going to complain like, oh my god, I have a hard life. It's nothing like that, but it's more like, you know, you see us on stream for like 4 to 5 hours. There's about another 4 hours of planning, preparation, setting up stuff outside of that. So for me, I don't think after I've spent like 8 hours, I need to do more, but I realized we do. So things like the Patreon and providing more rewards and doing replay casts and what was a big string of Beasts of the Hills, but lately I've just been too sick, which I feel awful about too. We'll get to that topic later, but yeah, I've been working a little bit harder to try and do stuff outside of just the normal casting. So if you ever want to partake in Discord or YouTube and you want to see more or see other things, I'm always very open and very receptive to ideas because it's hard to know what you guys want, really, at the end of the day.
And sometimes you don't know what you want.
Also, for this guy who's reporting it, everything is just a number. It says, players are actually live streaming their plays in the Olimoleague, which kind of takes away from the viewership. Maybe you look into that. Now, Zombie already replied to this guy in chat, but just to explain, guys, like, I, for one, first off, I know this is not a problem. Olivia typically lets them stream whatever they want, and then they got to turn it off at the semifinals or something, right? But my personal philosophy is I think, actually, I wish that more people would stream during tournaments. I not only don't care that they are, because who cares if it affects our viewership or not, it also just feels like makes a healthier streaming environment. Like, for me, I've been doing this for like 6 years at this point, and even a couple before that, watching a lot of Twitch. And I feel like what really killed a lot of hype for StarCraft 2 was all the pros stopped streaming. Like, WCS hit, it got big money, so everyone couldn't risk showing their builds on stream, so people chose not to stream. It kind of became like a thing after 3 or 4 years, where just like, you look at it, right? Most of the Team Liquid sidebar is not pro players. It's people like ourselves, or Rotterdam, or others, like M. Cannings and such. I'm not saying it's cause and effect, and I'm not saying it's definitive, but for me, a big part of what killed, I think, the streaming environment for Twitch was all the pros choosing not to stream their matches. And I think lately, you guys will notice this too, some of the most hype viewership we've seen has been when like Scarlet or Tasia or just players are actually streaming their games and practicing ladder or whatever. So to the effect of like, yes, this is not a problem for the tournament. Thank you for bringing it up. Not concerned, but also I just wish we could push that more. Like, guys, please stream your matches.
It's a lot of fun. You know, it's who the hell is biology? Like, I don't have a game yet. I'm looking at the
Class
bracket.
in high school,
Right? But some guy named Biology beat Keen 2-1.
oh. Interesting.
Now, I could say that, you know, life kind of is biology and vice versa.
No.
Oh.
But it'll be interesting because Keen has actually not been showing the greatest games lately. I don't think it's insane that an unknown name would take him down. I'll see how that looks a little bit closer later, though. He's got a nice ride to the end. If he could beat Keen, it's safe to say he could beat Alive if he can get through Silky. That might just be a semifinals match where we'll see a player named Biology. But who the hell has just joined this lobby?
I think it's a Chinese caster, but I don't know why he comes in and is like, wow.
Wow. Oh, no player. I was very confused. Yeah, so for those who don't know what we're waiting on, and again, I do apologize because it is a bit of wait time. Trying to grab one of the Southern possible matches. Again, here's a quick look at the... Nope. Do display capture. There we go. Of either Solar versus potentially Bunny, or... Well, I guess give me a Ragnarok's around. We can grab that. I don't know. Whatever. We're just waiting on a player to be available, basically. That's what we're doing in this lobby.
Ragnarok has been in a game for a while, so I don't know if that was a delayed bracket advance or he's in a lot of... Yeah, I don't know. Gumiho's on here. Well,
either way, we got Solar and Bunny by the looks of it, so... Yay! Downtime aversion!
I think so anyways. I didn't ask Bunny yet if he was 2-0. I think so was one inviting him.
Well, regardless, I actually, despite not having the greatest win streak recently on the channel, I am a big fan of Solar. So, always happy to see him versus whoever. In this case, it happens to be Bunny, who is not a bad Terran player. Titan EX1, I think, and him have parted ways. So he's a free agent.
I think so, yeah. Oh, Bunny. He's been a good Terran every now and again. We got 2 minutes. The countdown begin.
Okay. This is going to the bathroom. Hopefully we'll be back before 2 minutes. But going back to the previous topic, same person asks, are builds just that much of an edge in regards to streaming? Some of the best players like IMVP or NST played straight up outside of a few wacky builds. When you watch a player stream, maybe you as the viewer are watching for things like what's his build order, right? I don't think that's what a lot of pros are looking for. I think what they end up looking for is more like, what is his reaction? How does this person handle this situation, right? And it's not about trying to get a blind build counter because you know Gumiho always goes factory first or something. It's just more like, what does he do in this situation as you watch him grind the ladder out? And that gives you a big edge, knowing like, okay, I won't go Hydralisks because he clearly knows how to handle Hydralisks, so I'll play Lingbane instead. You know, it's not to say definitively this will be the case for everybody, but it's just one of many examples.
Absolutely. Knowing someone is more keen on mech at this current day is like, it's like a mental edge thing, right? Like you're still going to check, you're still going to make sure it's an overseer in, but especially like with Gumiho as the example, it's like, you know, it's not just going to be like, wait till max mech either. It's aggressive. So, and Gumiho has been, again, a prime example for this conversation. He's been a very experimental player recently, trying to perfect weird things. So it'd be very good to get information on him.
Hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, Fracture is the map. If you guys are just joining us on the stream, it's Solar versus Bunny. We've had an unfortunate amount of wait time for this. It's just sometimes the luck of the draw for the brackets, but looks like Bunny is back, and hopefully Solar's still here so we can get going. Jake the State Farmer! Thank you very much for your service. See you guys in game. All right, folks, it's a brand new best of 3. You've been waiting long enough, and here we are. Still in the round of 16 for the Olimoleague, and this is crazy to me that this is a round of 16 match, but that's what happens when you get a lot of good players signed up to play. To the top left, we have the Red Zerg. It's Solar.
The bottom right is the Blue Terran. He is Bunny.
All right, folks, a couple things to just cover real quick. One is, of course, we are on the Korean server. You may see a little bit of stutter. Don't worry, it's not your stream. It's not me lagging. It just tends to be what Korea is. But actually, so far, today's been not too bad. Knock on wood. Secondly, for those who have not been following the brackets, you can absolutely follow them on your own for the matches we're not casting. Crank's covering some games, too, and there's other channels casting this. Just type !brackets in the Twitch chat, or you can check out the Team Liquid sidebar for the other live streamed matches. But the last thing to kind of cover is the stream delay, because it's been brought up and granted not often complained about, but just to address it so people are aware. There's a 2-minute stream delay in place for tournaments like this. It's not entirely unheard of, even though I have worked pretty hard to get rid of stream delay in a lot of cases. I think it's a lot more fun when it's super live and not delayed. But when you've got a lot of money and points on the line, and a lot of players you may have never heard of before, it makes sense you would want to not say, hey, everybody's going to stream cheat, so let's put a 2-minute delay on, but it's more like, let's put a 2-minute delay on so nobody's tempted to stream cheat, knowing it would be ineffective in the first place. So Olimoleague, tournament organizer, imposes the rule. We kind of have to do this or we can't cast at all. So it is happening live for us. It's just slightly delayed for you who are watching it. These aren't replays or something silly like that. This is just, unfortunately, the way to cast the tournament.
Right. We did have a pull first from our Zerg player on a small map. Bunny might have been the best off by going for an SCV scout, but it's, you know, it's a risk that Terrans take. He will have his command center maybe slightly delayed. He got a Marine, which helps in this situation perfectly against just 2 lanes.
Oh, he's dancing with that SCV. He wanted to poke. Let's get down to it. He does handle this, though, and the other SCV should go back to, yep, building the command center. So a small delay, but nothing too crazy.
We don't have a reactor on that factory. It looks like he's going to be going for what seems to be just so popular on Fracture, just like in general on this map, which is that like Cyclone and Aliens thing. But he's also just not building anything with his. There we go. There's a Cyclone.
I guess gas, a bit of a problem for Bunny because he pushed out the starport so quick.
Yeah.
Well, the Reaper heads back towards the main. He'll see what he can see, frankly, but with so many queens pushing about, there's not really anywhere for this Reaper to go. And with speed, for these Lings already finished, he can't really stick around for a fight. So pulling back with a Reaper and maybe getting a Suicide Scout in about a minute wouldn't be too bad. You know, confirm the extra gases, see the layer timing, something like that.
Yeah. Usually it's not much use to the Reaper. Sometimes it'll help out with like the Hellions or any type of push, like a grenade can go a long way, but generally not useful. We don't have a swap over to Hellions, so it's actually just right into a tank, which is very safe, but then loses like anti-Ling defense for your 3rd CC. Like that, eventually you'll get enough units again to be fine against Lings, but really this is for holding up in your 2 bases behind a wall type of defense.
I'm so jaded about tank usage. I swear to God, I try to use them in my games and it just goes terribly. I watch pros do it though, and you're like, yeah, that was a great idea to go for tanks. Sometimes I wish I wasn't a garbage player, but then I probably wouldn't win games with proxy doors. So, you know, it's a trade-off.
What a trade-off.
It's not a good one. I didn't say it was a good trade-off.
That's a decent number of Marines that could, I mean, I guess that's kind of his anti-Ling surround force if he tries to take his 3rd base, because that's like an okay amount for not already having your barracks production, just having a reactor for an extended period of time.
For somebody who's unlimited gases, Solar losing an extractor like that is going to be a little painful, because he just put both of his evolution chambers into full effect there, double upgrades. Failing Nest on the way, and he's doing all of this now off of one. No, that was it. He's got no gas, funny enough.
That can sometimes be a surprisingly devastating effect. Like the gas timing, sometimes you watching the super late game, like, you know, it's just kind of whenever they remember. But for the early to mid game, it's actually kind of important. The Marines actually pair up here as we have a slow, small trickle of a rally here. Like that's very interesting. He actually brings the tanks forward too. I feel like this has gone about what I would have expected if I knew this is what he was going to do.
Ooh, he's getting queens of those tanks, though. You know what? I like the unsieged tank in this situation. As long as he picks it up, it doesn't lose it, but ooh.
Yeah, that was the caveat there. Like, I know it's already so low because there's so many queens attacking it that losing the tanks, even one tank, I don't actually think is ultimately worth it.
No, and the medevac on top of that, a little bit greedy going back the way she did, I suppose, but still, Not great for Bunny in terms of the attack. So he is effectively shut down. But, you know, third CC's up in the main. His production is rolling out. Well, he's going to be behind upgrades for a long time. Down 1-1. You know, Tank's still one-shot Zerglings at the end of the day.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Bunny was hoping for a greedier Zerg. There was a lot of things missing in this game. For both players, I guess, really. Like, Solar is not on, like, 60 drones quite yet. He was on 48 for a lot of that fight, but that was totally appropriate for how he was able to handle it. Now, he has knowledge of safety. He, like, you know, that was a bit of a weird attack, but he dealt with it. He didn't lose all of his queens either, although he did lose some. And yeah, he had to spend a lot of money on lings, but now he has, like, a really long time where Sim is not on the way. And I don't know if he knows that 100% or not, because this has been a kind of a weird build. But, you know, they sent their Marines out, so at the very least won't be many Marines. They have a third CC, so that's already a little bit of a delay there as well. Where you can get to 60, 65, 70 drones, whatever, your fourth base back up. This is the time for you to creep spread. This is the time where the Zerg comes back. Where Bunny, he wanted to do more damage almost for sure with a surprise attack. He wanted to catch Solar at 60 drones. No creep spread type of deal. And momentum kind of feels like it's going to be back in Solar's favor, but we're on a very small map, and that could quickly change because Bunny is, you know, credit to him, he's had that tank production for a while, so he's back up to 3. That's still a fine pushing force once he has Sim and combat shields.
Also, because the stream delay conversation is still going on, just to add some more to this, like, there's a point that's been made that's very true. There's very few pros I could ever see feeling the need to stream sheet to beat somebody. And a lot of them are very trustworthy. So that's why we get to do the monthly finals, and it's typically 8 pros that we all know and trust. That's when Olivia doesn't tell us we need to use the stream delay, right? So it is mostly just because, you know, it's an open tournament sign up. They had a round of 64. Like, there's a lot of players you just don't know that you can trust on the bracket.
Yeah, so tomorrow, I guess, you know, no stream delay.
Hopefully not. Get some really strange, suspicious guy in the monthly finals. You're like, damn it, you ruined it for everything else. Now this is a really good force out of Solar, enough to at least scare Bunny back. So he walks back. He's gonna clean up a couple tumors, but my fear is that Solar is not doing an extraordinary amount of creep spread, but it is on Fracture an extraordinary amount of creep spread, as it's already crossed halfway on the map. Well, that's of course cause and effect of this being a much shorter map.
We see a lot of the most natural thing you would assume for a short map is, you know, instant and continuous pressure from the Terran. That's why initially it might have seemed like a Terran favorite map, and I don't know what the stats are right now, but anyways, we've actually been seeing a lot more Terrans just go into the Supreme late game. You know, Solar is thinking, oh, I got this creep spread, I got five bases, he's going on his 5th.
Oh no!
And he's cleaning up all the drops, so he's probably feeling on cloud 9 right now, which is totally fine for him to be feeling, but
no, that's Worlds for League of Legends.
Shut up, I knew you were gonna do that. The Terrans have actually just been maxing out and basically forcing the Zerg to come to them, even with Ultras, even with Vipers. The one caveat being that if Broodlords didn't make it out, it's kind of tough, but I don't think that's gonna happen soon for Solar.
That mineral line block was just awful for the Lings there. I can't believe how bad that was, but I mean, the drop gets away to unload in the main. It'll be picked up again. There'll be a little bit of dancing here for a small amount of time, but realistically, you know, we're talking about the possible Broodlords and all these other things, but I think what's most terrifying for Bunny is the situation that, like, he really can't afford to push, not because of an army supply deficit, but these upgrades are kind of a big deal. Like, Solar's still 1-1 above Bunny and will be even for some time. He'll get to 3-3 before Bunny does too. So Bunny, if he like can stall the game out long enough to get those upgrades evened up, he can maybe take some better trades later on, but then that goes into what you had just discussed, where you're in the territory now, no longer just Lings and Banes, but instead Broodlords and possibly Ultras or other things. And by the way, there's a lot of Zerglings and a lot of Banelings. 170 Zerglings in play. Was that 40-something Banelings? 29 Banelings.
But this is how Bunny should play it. You know, like, yeah, the upgrades are really a good point. They are substantially behind, but Solar took advantage of what he saw as an open opportunity, and he was right to do so. But this is still a very tricky army to clean up, even with all the advantages in the world. I shouldn't have said that. All the advantages, sorry, except for creep spread. Like, if creep spread is there, if Bunny moves on a creep, then Solar wraps around him and kills him. Blinding Cloud comes down and like GG. If Creep Stride isn't there and Bunny just like cleans it up and then says, okay, now come at me, that's where we see Zerg players try and get those surrounds, try and get the Blinding Clouds down, and actually still fail at killing the army. Unless that the Broodlords is the one thing that really changes things up, because tanks can do anything about the Broodlords. Here comes the army. We're going to actually test this theory right now. It's going to be slightly off of Creep. Blinding Clouds do come down, but there's a lot of splits already happening for Bunny. He's going to barely take the fight.
Yeah, if he can just take care of the last couple Banelings, he can collapse on this.
But it wasn't as amazing, I think, as Bunny has wanted, but he is going to try and take advantage of the momentum here. The upgrades are currently even for another like 30, 40 seconds. I don't know really if he should be going this deep on a creep, though. He doesn't know exactly how many Banelings are left over.
I kind of like that he did, though. Like, obviously, it would have been better if he had scanned ahead, but I think he recognized that, like, Solar had exhausted his forces. If he was making new Banelings, it would take a lot of time. So trying to take advantage of that, I think, is why he stepped forward. But coming back now, it was an appropriate time in response to possibly more Banelings being out. Either way, another swarm off of Creep, but Solar's got a lot more units than Bunny this time around. Solar's also about to have 3-3 kick in any second now, so things get even tougher for Bunny, as he'll be once again at an upgrade deficit. Something he had been able to bridge for that last fight, but now it's 3-3 for the Lings and the Banes. And there's just nothing to stop this. GG.
My cat decided to climb all over me in the last 30 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah, it's cute, but also annoying. Yeah, this is... Bunny did what I think he was supposed to do, but I wonder if his tank count... I mean, it got Blinding Clouded, but that is expected. It just didn't seem like it was that high. He never went to second factory. And I guess he did kind of technically start off on that creep, but it was one of those things where the theory crafting I was explaining is all true, but Bunny didn't take a good enough fight. Solar's economy and, upgrades and all that just still absolutely powered through.
Buddy messaged me for some reason. Acid Plant, by the way. We did get some bits, though, by the way. Thank you very much for that. BSK, my man. Black Spade Kamui. 1,000 PogChamps. Love everything you guys do for StarCraft 2. Thank you very much, man.
Thanks.
Dude, I had a real epiphany last night, Zombie Grub.
Did you know?
Yeah, this whole time I thought we were casting StarCraft also.
Oh, I saw. Jesus, I saw that.
Also, hey, while that game was going on, we also missed out on Mike29 coming with a brand new Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much, sir. Hinjima also renewed for 33 months. So StarCraft 2 for life. Thank you for being crazy for 33 months and sticking with the channel. Also, a lot of debate. I know it's like memes about what BTTV stands for. I did like Best Terran Trade TV. Or, no, someone said Biased Terran Trade TV, excuse me. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah. It is good, but that's literally all that guy's been saying. So I'm like, are you okay? Are you broken? Are you on repeat?
Yo, it's interesting. A guy got really upset at Wardy for making a sarcastic comment during his cast. I'm assuming you saw this tweet, Shane.
I did, yes.
Just people are really upset about racial bias, I guess, lately. I don't know. We'll talk more on this topic in a moment. Looks like players are ready, though. So let's hop into Acid Plant. We'll see you guys for game 2. All right, welcome back. We are getting into game number 2. Spawning in the lower right side of the map, we have the red Terran player. He's looking for his comeback. It's Bunny.
In the top left, reading that last game pretty perfectly, it is the Blue Zerg Infinity Gaming's Solar.
Yeah, something Solar did that game that I really enjoyed, but also didn't at the same time, was the low gas count. I really thought that extractor killed was going to devastate him more than it did. But it also really reflected, like, him being, perhaps, you could borderline say greedy on this, by going for all of that gas-based economy, like Banelings, double upgrades off of one gas, that really was a risk that got him ahead. I mean, we saw the echoes of that at the end of the game, like 20 minutes later. The 3-3 upgrade lead comes entirely based off of that really fast double upgrade. You could
He
argue
certainly
Bunny.
had them. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. Oh boy, this is awkward. This is. I was just gonna say like you could argue Bunny even should have like maybe pushed his upgrades faster, but I think Bunny did what a normal Terran would do. You'd have to really go abnormal to go faster.
I wasn't like paying 100% attention to the builds timings, but it was one of those things where either it was normal or it was a little pushed off, and both still wouldn't have beaten Solar. I think you're right about that. Solar did something that in that sense, I guess, was greedy, because a lot of that early game, I was talking about how I think Bunny wanted to catch a greedier Zerg. So the upgrades in, I guess, a sense were kind of like, okay, that's faster, that's more put into it than normal, but he still didn't quite do enough. And Solar was not, as I said, like up to 60 drones or something like that, only on 4 queens, like I don't know. He was perfectly set up for it. Perhaps Bunny has done that build follow-up more often than not, because I think I thought Bunny would at least surprise him, as he certainly surprised me. I saw the tanks come over and I was like, what?
Yeah.
But maybe Solar's used to it. Maybe he was expecting some type of different follow-up, but still like had the army regardless of what he thought it would be. I don't know, but that was kind of like a weird once-off thing. And now Bunny has an opportunity to play a more normal game, which it seems like he's doing. His factory's right near his barracks. Probably going to swap over for Hellions. Probably, but we'll watch and see.
Okay, well, keep an eye on that. First off, thank you, Zeepsneeft, for the Twitch Prime sub. But also, Mike29 says, I've watched this channel for 5 years. I just got a Twitch account this morning. You guys are the best. I'm actually a little curious on this, Mike29, if you could fill me in on this one, man. Does this mean you were somebody who watched on YouTube and just happened to catch us live, or are you just like someone who lurks on Twitch for 5 years and just made an account? I have no judgment on either. I'm just a little curious which the case may have been.
Also, are you 29 years old, or were you born in 1929?
Oh, it's Mike29. Oh, it's genius.
I mean, it's usually what you fall back to when you run out of.
What if it's two 9-year-olds sharing an account? And they've been watching us since they were 4.
Oh, wow. Yeah, geez. Oh, no. Cursed way too much.
Yep.
I was Hellions, by the way, so more of a normal build here.
Well, as Bunny wraps around north, he might grab a couple of drone kills, but there's not that much exposed if you were to go in. Luckily, there's not a lot of queens this way yet either, but they are spreading their creep and getting over here. And yeah, it's 2, 3, possibly. Tries to build the sport crawler, gets 1 drone saved.
Zergs usually aren't going to be making those anti-Hellion lings for another, well, basically now. It's 2 Hellions wouldn't do very much even if they did run in. But 2 drones for trading out nothing. Finds the Overlord, which was a given, but at least Solar got the scout before it died. Might have been a false scout, though. Hey,
yeah.
no.
Sorry, just to
Okay.
explain to people who, again, I know we got some front pagers coming in, some casual StarCraft fans. What Solar last saw before he lost vision was the researching tech lab. Every indication this is cloaked banshees. So maybe throwing out extra spore crawler, maybe you react with a faster overseer, thus this faster layer. I'm not saying it was cause and effect, but it's one of those things where Solar misread because Bunny canceled the cloak, did not invest in banshees, and has now swapped over towards Stimpak. It's a clever move out of our Terran. Bunny's patrolling around with the Viking right now, just looking for overlords. He's going to clear the path up from the medevac. I like that. It's a bit of an escort.
Yeah, it's not usually you see like a direct escort like that, but that's what's happening. Hellions over to the left side to catch, I mean, maybe a drone that's going to a 4th base would be kind of a lucky take, but more so about the Widowmine drop. The Spore Crawler even repositions, but it's so fast at it that it's okay.
Well, this gets shut down over here. The Widowmines, unfortunately, don't look like they're going to get amazing shots, despite his best efforts. And there's no greedy 4th to push into, sadly, for these poor Hellions.
Yeah.
Bunny didn't risk a lot with this, but he did lose a fair amount with that Viking going down. Although the Viking less important than the medevac, so keeping that alive with 3 Widowmines is pretty nice.
Sure, yeah. It's one of those things that Zerg players don't usually even have to think of as well. So whereas a Protoss might be constantly on guard against the follow-up Widowmine drop, the Zerg players are usually paying attention to Hellions or Loop Raiders or something else. Now, Solar, we mentioned the fourth base. It's certainly not greedy. I think eventually he will take it. But Acid Plant has been quite popular for Roach all-ins. Well, all-in's a strong word, but oh, look at that. He grabbed the drone. But it, very dedicated Roach push. And with 1-1, the amount of Roaches he's getting, I mean, he'll certainly squash any attack if Bunny wanted to do one, but it's, it's unlikely he would until he has 1-1 and more tanks. And then he could either squash it or he could just bypass it. And Acid Plant, when you get down to it, when you break down those rocks, it's actually not that long of a map. And I would say usually it favors the Zerg if the Terran's one out of position with such an attack. So I'm a little scared. Bunny kind of has to recognize that that's the direction Solar is going. But I don't know if he's seen the Roach numbers yet. I don't think he has, because he wouldn't be doing this if he did.
I mean, tanks are pretty good against Roaches. I don't know if they're that good against Roaches.
Right. The issue here is the number of units protecting the tanks.
Yeah. Corrosive Bile's coming too. I mean, it's an easy removal. Tanks can't move. Really sucks for the Terran in this situation. He had another tank coming over ferried in that medevac, but that's a quick nope as he turns around. My concern is that Solar might be able to just push a counterattack now, and Bunny would have nothing to defend. No, he's desperately putting bunkers down.
Right. He realizes now what's going on, and I think if he, hindsight, he's always like, oh, of course, right? Like, there's a later fourth base. I should have pushed in with a Reaper or something to see what his Roach count was. Like, it all feels silly, probably to Bunny right now, who's really feels almost desperately trying to get these weird tank timings in, because it's the second game he's done it. Even if it's a bit different of a tank timing, it's still kind of weird. And it's just not working. Like, Solar is not playing a spectacularly greedy style. Definitely not this game. As he goes for that one-run Roach attack that I was talking about. I was right to be scared for Bunny. I think he just dies here.
A valiant attempt to go for drops. Turning this into what is... I think he was hoping to be a base trade. Maybe if there's another tank on the high ground, this could be a different story, but no, there is not.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, is probably the end of Bunny. He put up a good fight against Solar too, but I think what I was really impressed out of the series for Solar, well, actually, hang on, this might hold. It'll cost him all his workers, and I'm not saying he's got a good recovery, but that tank might barely hold this. Nah, GG. I think it was gonna be a loss either way. I was just curious if that tank was gonna be the miracle worker, but I think that Bunny did a lot of things not wrong. Solar just played a pretty perfect game in both game 1 and game 2, though. Like, reading the situation, not misreading the cloak on the Banshee, like handling that as he should have. But I also want to put just a warning up on chat for this, right? Look, guys, I don't care about the girl part of this. I don't care about the casting part of this. What I do care about, though, is like, we are getting dangerously close to the territory of like being like really unnecessarily bashy, I guess. And the rules about no caster bashing on the channel aren't actually in place because of myself and Zombie Grub. Some people get annoyed at our chat rules, but one of the big chat rules we have is no caster bashing, because what a lot of people tend to do is come to this channel and complain about other casters who are friends of ours on other channels. And even though the topic at hand involves other players or people from other games, I think the rule still stands. I just don't want to encourage an environment where, like, it's okay to say like, oh, I find this person annoying, or I don't like this caster. But like, let's draw the line there, right? Like, don't start going to like, they're shitty, they're bad. Like, no one's doing this yet, but like, I've just seen this conversation happen too many times. So politely asking guys that if you are going to carry on this discussion, just be chill about it. That's all I can ask. But we're going to be moving into the round of 8. And there's a lot of good games up there, so we're going to go to commercials. When we get back, we'll see you with a little more StarCraft 2. All right, we're back, folks, and we're getting into Solar versus Bunny. So we'll be following Solar off of his victory, or not Bunny, excuse me. Bunny just lost. Rest in peace, Bunny. Solar versus Cure. We're following Solar after his victory over Bunny. There you go. To fight against Cure in the round of 8. So another ZVT, and we'll see if Solar can play this one as perfectly as well. I thought he really nailed it on a lot of his calls, and if he can play like that again, I think he can beat Cure. But funny enough, he does in the past have a win record versus Cure in the first place, so by no means am I trying to make Solar out to be an underdog. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting round of 8 just because they do have a pretty storied history. In the meantime, thank you, Black Spade Camo. You're throwing in another 500 bits our way, so you have a good rest of your cast. BaseTradeTV, I'm off to schools. Oh, dude, thank you for the bits, and have yourself a great day. I hope it didn't just steal your lunch money. And then Abarco also came in for 11 months on that resub. Thank you, Abarco. Sorry I'm kind of falling behind and missing these guys, but trying to get back into the groove. It's been a couple days since I've had to cast.
Isn't that so weird?
It should be like riding a bicycle, but it's really not. It just really isn't. Oh, is that a kitty cat? Is that a whitewashed kitty cat? Hello, Apollo.
He's so cute. He's just always there. I went to a baby shower on Sunday.
Ooh, did you have to clean it or what?
No, I hope not. But it was like my mom's best friend's daughter. But it was like, and they're awesome people. Like, you know, my mom was just trying to babysit my aunt. But oh my God, they had the worst idea, Rifkin. Okay. Like, I know you don't know what 55 degrees is in Fahrenheit, but it's kind of chilly.
If you say so.
There we go. It's 12.7 Celsius.
Ah, that's shorts weather.
Okay. Yeah. But you all, I don't know about that.
you're also weird if you like the cold. Right? No, that's cold.
Yeah,
that's cold. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're an odd person out here, even with me not liking the cold. So me and my dad hate the colds. Like, and they had the baby shower on a rooftop bar at 55 degrees in late October, as if you were expecting it to be not 55 degrees. Like, I don't know why.
You know what? I have something to relate to that, but we'll go to game first. So we'll see you guys on map for Blue Shift. All right, we're in for a brand new best of 3. This is now getting deep into that tournament, guys. We're in the round of 8 for this week's Olimoleague. Spawning in the bottom left, we have the Red Terran Cure.
Top right is the blue Zerg. He is Solar.
So the situation you had just brought up, by the way, immediately made me think back to when we did the tournament in Toronto, North by Northeast. And you're like, all right, you want to have a tournament outside when there is stormy weather on the horizon.
I know it's hot.
It was, dude, Toronto weather sucked. That was a horrible weekend. It was like warm rain. Ugh. But yeah, it just reminded me of that. You're like baby shower outside in cold weather. You know, you got all these electronic devices, esports event in the rain. Like, just like, could have been done better.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's questionable. I don't know.
I still don't know if people ever got paid out for that, by the way. Like, I remember it was just last year. Like, Soul and others were hounding me. I'm like, look, dude, I didn't run the tournament. I don't know. We just cast it. Like,
yeah, I don't know either. That really sucks. Anyways, I ended up just staying huddled in the corner. My dad had brought the blanket from the car, and we just like we were all huddled up. Kind of sucks. But yeah, there's food there, so that helps.
Stay close for warmth.
Yeah. Anywho, so Solar had a really good TVZ, but Bunny was also doing some pretty odd things. It's like, and I see this like more often in not professional tournaments. So while we have like a ton of normal build here, that makes some time to explain. Like, what Bunny was doing was very specifically trying to catch someone droning, which can look like a dumb thing, which it kind of did, let's be honest, or it can look like a genius thing because you hit these odd timings. Your Zerg player assumes they're safe because they see like a 3rd CC timing, right? The Banshee thing was kind of cool. That was a trick, but it was definitely more about the tank timings that he did in both games. But the problem with any type of tank push like that in any matchup, really, where you're trying to find someone being greedy, is that you're still yourself on kind of a low number of units. So while tanks seem like the biggest ballers in the world when they're up against a ledge and they're shelling away and they're like, oh no, what do I do? They look really dumb in small numbers when they just simply overwhelm you.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So it, as I said, like it can look really stupid or it can look really intelligent, and Solar just totally read into it both times. I don't think Cure will do the same thing, and if he was planning to, well, I hope he watched Bunny's series. But I really don't think Cure's I don't think he's gonna be the same type of player, although I honestly did not pin Bunny as that type of player either. That was kind of a surprise for me. But Cure's been playing, I think, even more to like the Supreme late game, which is what a lot of other Terrans have been doing. So probably see that more.
Brodusky11 says, awesome map intros, by the way. Were these used before? First off, thank you. Secondly, yeah, there was one season where I got lazy about it, and I just remember saying fuck it, because I didn't think any of the maps would stay, and then they ended up staying. So outside of that, I've pretty much consistently made and used map intros for the last, I don't know, couple years. Actually, longer than that even. I'm just thinking all the way back to like really old school days. Anyways, point is, yes, we use map intros pretty regularly. Some people find it annoying and repetitive. Some people enjoy it. I think it's a really cool way to just not sit through a normal, boring load screen, because that's all you're doing otherwise. Like, oh, whose PC's a little bit better? Oh, the border on this guy looks kind of nifty, I guess. The end. Like,
Yeah.
So, thank you. And yes, we use them regularly.
Cure does go right into, didn't even go for Viking, right into Banshees, which is it kind of got phased out for a little while. Maybe it's making its way back as fashion does. So does StarCraft 2 meta.
I think part of him actually going through this too is like less scouting was done by Solar, and Overlord sitting in the main base to see it. Maybe it was a mind game in game one. Is this just coincidence, or maybe this was like, okay, because it was scouted, he chose not to invest in it. Either way, this time around, we'll get to see how his Banshees look. Oh wait, I'm actually thinking of the previous series. It has nothing to do with this. I'm dumb. Yeah, sorry. Too much TVZ, man. Too early in the morning for me. 5:42 a.m. on the West Coast is my excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not Bunny, so forget everything I just said. Bad analysis. Good analysis if this was game 2, which it is not.
No, it's not. So of course Solar is set up for this. One of the weak things about Banshees is that Zerg players especially, I think Protoss players sometimes have that like kind of funny like, oh, you got me. The 5th Banshee really got me. Like, good one. Zerg players not so much. The Spore Crawlers are the first 2 Banshee defense, and then let's be real, Queens are pretty good. So they tag any other Banshees that might come on the way unless it's absurd, like that one Gumiho game.
We just kept going.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
didn't stop.
Like that was absurd, right? But anyway, so that's like the downside. And there are a couple of all-ins they're gonna also do if they like immediately know it's Hellion Banshee 3rd CC. But Solar's not doing that. He is going for 1/1 again though, with Roaches, of course. The missile on the way. Nice little tag on the Queen there. That's something.
That actually, that's a lot. Which is, this is not a player like Snoot who would have 9 queens conventionally. Solar will have like 4, maybe 5. So losing that queen sucks because it means less injects, but also means less aggressive creep spread, which, okay, I recognize this is not Bunny, but in Bunny's series, Solar had pretty good map control, and that, of course, was a lot in part due to his creep. So not even going back to send a queen to inject the main base, he's just screwed, I don't need the larva, puts those queens on the front line, a lot of energy for transfusions, but more importantly, a lot of energy for more creep.
Yeah. And to an this is not lane Baneling. So to an extent, he doesn't even need all 3 hatcheries pumping. Although, he is on 3 hatcheries, not the quickest 4th base we've ever seen. But you don't really need a macro hatchery. So it works out fine. The Banshees are probably their best benefits now is that they're alive for helping with the Roaches. It's possible that Solar gets the creep spread so far out that he also brings queens. But if he's going to go for that 1/1 Roach attack, which I do believe he's doing again, the Banshees will just get free damage. Enough damage? Well, that's the question. But they will get some free if they don't sack themselves here.
Which I'm afraid they might do, because it's really tempting when you haven't realized it's Roaches. Solar has very purposely circumvented all scouting. Goes around the southern side of the map with queens, roaches, ravagers, you name it, and Cure is not only ill-prepared, but out of position.
Yeah. I mean, those queens are off of creep, so they may have a little bit of difficulty. The Banshee should still get something done, but as long as they're guarding their Ravagers in particular, I think they're pretty okay. They actually were taking a couple shots from the tanks, but there we go. There we go. Here come the Roaches and Ravagers. And here is... I mean, he's actually... The Sim City, like, this one supply depot makes an even better choke than usual. Yeah. The queens are mostly dead. Here come the Banshees, so the cleanup might still happen. Oh, that choke is just so beautiful, those two tanks.
I'm actually really astonished that one depot did all this.
Right?
But with this hold, Cure ends up being in a not bad spot. Now, I did lose 21 SCVs, right? Like, this isn't great for Cure. But he's in a not bad spot. He can mule up this difference, probably. He's kept a lot of this army intact, so it's not like a second follow-up will kill him. Like, kudos to Cure on the defense. It could have been better, but it also could have been a lot worse.
That's the best way to sum it up. Yeah. It could have been a bit better. Maybe even you temporarily evacuate the third base and wait for combat shields. Like, maybe that could have been better. But it also could have been a lot worse. Unfortunately, even though Cure keeps his head afloat, like he's actually on a decent economy, his army was reset, and most importantly, his tanks did end up dying. They put so much work in, but they ended up dying. And now, this party was even been lowered or they're going to be killed. Solar still has the momentum in this game, but always remember that Roaches tend to look worse and worse as the game goes on. Cure just needs to actually get that army back up and running. Desperately trying to do so, but Medevac's even running out of juice a little bit here, and no SCVs to pull this time.
This is rough. He just barely can't quite shave this off. I like this tank on the high ground. Unfortunately, though, Ravagers should be able to see it and crucify it down fairly easily, which they do. Ouch.
It's still got like 3 shots, I want to say, which, you know, the Roaches were once again kind of clumped up. Cure is very close to holding. If he had one more tank in this engagement or 10, 11 more Marines, like this, that could have all been the difference makers, and he might still be able to push through. Remember, when Solar's Roaches go down, he starts to lose those expensive Ravagers. He starts to lose the Queens that can come over with transfuses. This should be the last few Queens we see offensively. But it's a tough hold. It's still, and there's also a potential for a macro game after this for Solar, even though he'll be behind in upgrades.
This tank is doing work, but once again gets picked off by those corrosive biles. These queens are out of juice, so not a lot of transfuses left at this point. I do feel though that Cure, while he might win the battle, I still don't know if he can win the war. And that supply out of Solar, granted it's inflated because it's Roaches, it still hasn't really dipped below 70, despite all of this fighting. It's
tough though, you know, because he's almost guaranteed, you know, now might be a time where he can evacuate. But no, it's not. So, like, he will lose his Ravagers almost 100% when he doesn't attack like this. And those are the things that are going to keep you in the game. You know, of course, Vials aren't affected by upgrades. They can buy time on ramps. So losing those is, like, another macro potential gone. But the back and forth continues as Cure goes a little bit too far forward. He's constantly producing medevacs when he can. But he also has to fit in gas for tanks and Marauders and just minerals, of course, right? That's actually still his main problem. And they are running out of juice, so that's always something to consider. The back and forth finally stops. Solar did start +2 weapons, but Cure, 40 SCV is not terrible. Mules, very, very good. Upgraded bio, very good. I kind of want to say this is a game that can still go either way. Like, I don't know. Solar's army supply is going to be insane. We'll see if he can hold against it.
You know, at the end of the day, if Cure was just feeding his army fight milk, this might look a little different.
I don't know what that means. But...
Oh, that's right. You don't watch Always Sunny. Damn it.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Well, never you mind on that one, then. Bad reference on my part. But the Marauders, the tanks, like the 2-2 for the Terran, there's a lot of things that make this look doable for Cure, despite the numbers being smaller. But I don't know. I feel like he's also just one bad engagement away from losing everything. Like the Mule Drop, the crazy Mule Drop is the only reason he's keeping on par with Solar for income right now. Those are going to expire, and he's going to fall behind again.
Yeah. This is 2-2 bio against, you know, at half the army supply with only 2 tanks helping out, not only 1 tank. It seems like it's just not going to be enough, but it could have been really close. A couple of these tanks survive, a couple more fights, 10 more Marauders. I mean, I don't think Cure's going to win this fight, and he's still sticking around, but...
No, this might have been the breaking point, if not definitely.
Yeah, GG. Oh, boy.
Well, that's a good game out of Solar. I like this, again, because like him and Cure have a bit of a history going up against each other. but more so because Solar just looks like he's really on point today. I don't know, maybe he had his coffee or whatever. It's not morning for him, it's evening, but the point is he's reading these situations well. I feel like he's reacting to these situations well. And even right there at the very end, while I didn't get a chance to really dissect it, like he chose to, rather than go up through the army and have it funnel in from the south, to wrap all the way around from the north, have a much better engagement area. Like he's thinking about all of these things while he's playing the game. And it's wonderful to watch.
It is. That was a really fun game. That came down to, I mean, almost like sheer force of will with Solar continuing to attack and Kira overstepping every now and again. It's kind of funny, though, to see two Terrans. Always so funny, but like both Terrans kind of getting surprised by a 1-1 roach push. Just like neither one of them getting great eyes on what the army is. Like not even seeing that it's roaches until pretty late. And then beyond that, not seeing how many roaches. I feel like Solar, and I don't want to say he's getting lucky with these pushes, the 1-1 roaches, but he's finding them to be super effective. And I wonder if we'll do it again here on Fracture.
I mean, it's fair to say you can get a little bit lucky here and there, but it's not like he's relying on luck to win.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to let everyone on Discord know live. Oopsies.
Whoopsie.
Well, everyone's asleep right now, so they usually don't get the messages, but there we go. At any rate, guys, girls, we're getting into game number 2. It's Fracture, as it is loser's pick in this situation. We'll see if Cure can bring it back, or if he'll fall down and be another just corpse in Solar's way. That was a really awkward sentence.
A little bit, and also it almost timed out perfectly with the map starting, and then it didn't.
That's what I was trying
You're
to
like drawing it out.
Right? I was trying to.
As possible. Maybe it'll start now.
There you go. Perfect timing, Zombie Grub. All right, let's hop into Fracture. First try. All right, folks, we're hopping into game number 2 this time around to get my head screwed on straight about it. Before we get into the intros, a quick note. On the top half of the bracket, we've had both Innovation and Alive make it to the semifinals. We will likely be casting that next. The winner of this will move on to fight against Trap, who did take a 2-0 over Ragnarok. So, what is possibly a very diverse semifinals. And what looks to be at this rate, not a guaranteed TBT, unless he can bring it back. He's down 1 on his last life. In the upper left, we have Cure.
In the bottom right is the Red Zerg from Infinity Gaming. It is Solar.
So shout out to Eric Arcana. He's got a brilliant idea. I'll pursue that sponsorship immediately. But yeah, Cure, man. I know him to be such a good Terran player. He just seems to have a weakness for Solar.
You make it sound like a love story.
Maybe it is. Maybe he lets him win.
He can't control himself. He has a weakness. Yeah, it's there are definitely those situations where you can look at two players' performances against other top-notch players and be like, well, you know, theoretically, not that this is actually the case, but theoretically, Kira could be beating Maru, Zest, Stat, like whatever, right? And Solar is, and you'll be like, well, Kira should win, right? But really, like there's a mix up of styles or just mental games going on as well, or just certainly a bit of luck can happen.
Would you do me a favor, dear co-castress? Would you look up their Olimoleague and see exactly what they're... Because they've got a pretty... It was for a time back and forth, but then Solar took a pretty hard lead in terms of who was winning series between them. And I think last I saw, he was up like 4 best-of-3s over Cure. I'm not sure what that is exactly right now, but like there's some actual stats to back up what we're saying. We're not just talking out our ass for this one, guys. Like, Cure, great player. Some reason, there's just like a problem with Solar. This isn't the only time we've ever seen this too. There's players out there too, like Neeb. He kills so many Koreans and then like can't beat Scarlet.
Yeah, it's a back and forth between those two. So Cure recently lost against Solar, but then won against him twice. then lost against him, lost against him, lost against him, won against him, won. I mean, it's actually kind of back and forth.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it was back and forth, and then there's like just like a win streak for Solar for a small bit, like you just listed out. So
yeah, I guess that was the time I listed out. So not the most recent time, but yeah, it's maybe slightly in favor of Solar. But it's pretty close, and I guess that's, you know, kind of like pick that statistic up and then put it onto the game. It was a very close game. I mean, it ended up being that Solar was gonna have too much army supply, but I say, like, if Cure had maybe not overextended 1 or 2 more times, he would have had more medevac energy. He would have had 5 more Marauders. He would have had 1 extra tank. If he had known about the push from the get-go, probably the most important thing, he would not have lost as many SCVs, which would have contributed and snowballed. It's one of those types of armies that really, if Cure is able to settle at 50 SCVs for minutes with mules being dropped, his army does just get better. And Solar is just purely depending on the numbers, because Roaches and Ravagers end up sucking after a while. It can easily tip over the other way. But Solar goes for a very fast Overlord speed this game. So I guess expecting Cure to do something a little wonky. Maybe kind of remembering that game versus Bunny on the same map and being like, well, I want to make sure it's not some weird follow-up.
yeah, it's not often you actually see fast Overlord speed pumped out, but I like it in terms of scouting.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of this, even before they changed it to be cheap and super easy to get like it is nowadays. But wall, not quite up, but not necessary if you can cut the Hellions off early enough. A little bit of poke damage goes a long way.
Bit dangerous to do this if you don't have Lings, but he is building them now. An assumption that a Banshee's going to be on the way, it seems like. I mean, we thought that it was a starport without a tech lab, but it could be swapped over, and Squirt Claws could be helpful against the Liberators anyways.
So a little bit of a non-game topic that's interesting here. Dad Rock Radio asks in chat, saying when people say foreigner players, they mean anyone not Korean, right? And this is a phrase that has been so ingrained in the StarCraft 2 community. It took me 2 years to get into comfortably using it, but it makes sense once you do, and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until recently, as I've been watching the development of Worlds and the crazy hype that there's for League of Legends right now, that I realized just how StarCraft-centric that phrase is. Like, people get, oh my god, we're gonna have an NA or EU team in the finals. I'm like, why don't they just say foreigners? Like, what? Like...
Yeah, it's very StarCraft specific. I think initially League of Legends might have also had the same thing. No, actually no, because I don't remember League of Legends history. I don't remember when Korean started to dominate it.
I don't want to, like, I'm not just an elitist, like, oh my god, it's great that we have this phrase, or StarCraft only has this phrase. It's just, it really is such a normal thing to say. It's like all these people, these Twitch streamers you see out there, right? They say poggers, monka s, like, as part of their speech, like, oh my god, that's the poggers. At some point, they're going to be in a conversation with a real person and say that and have that moment of embarrassment going like, oh, right, that's not a everybody thing. And I feel like that's how I am with foreigners. Like, when we're casting StarCraft 2 and talking about foreigners, it makes sense, but any other way to do it, I just sound kind of racist.
Well, yeah. I think when we say, like, you know, the Koreans or something like that, I always feel like a little weird talking to, like, non-esports people. But anyways, I like it. I like having certain vernacular that is something that people have to be like, wait, what are they talking about? But I know a lot of people who don't like it, who are like, we should just say non-Koreans to be as clear as possible. And I see both sides. This game has been going on for a little while. The Sport Crawlers out with the Liberators perfect positioning for them. And this game is going on in a macro game. So Cure probably going to do what Bunny did, but then hopefully a little bit better. So I'm talking maybe a couple more tanks. There's definitely a little tank out for Bunny, and then also maybe a little farther off of creep.
I think it'd be really BM. I'm like, what, lose? That's rude.
I mean, you might. I think, again, like this map is kind of shifted from being like, oh, they're clearly going to like rally push me, right? To being more of a, well, they're going to wait a while and then push me.
Well, you know, speaking back to the Bunny games, we are seeing that upgrade deficit again, which I think for a time wasn't super uncommon. I would say nowadays I do feel it's a little less normal. Either way, Solar's going to be on a very nice 2-2 at some point while Cure's stuck on 1-1. And of course, we saw how that translated with Bunny, and it doesn't matter that's a different player. The upgrade dynamic is still there in the game. and it is particularly effective when it comes to these Ling type engagements.
Well,
Oh, that was rude. They're killing his own Marine.
I didn't even notice. Solar's only job right now is to make sure his crew spread is not cleaned up or instantly replaced. Cure's job is to try and get maxed out. The upgrades will certainly play a part, but I think even that engagement that did end up killing Bunny really was while they were even, so only ever plays so much. It looks like Liberators did finally find the Squirrels out of position, so 10 drones, not too shabby there.
That's a good amount of damage to Solar, but he does bounce back from this pretty easily. He's still on 70-something workers, so not going to hurt him that much. 10 workers early on, devastating. 10 workers when you've already got 80, it's like, all right. That happened, I guess.
Yeah.
In fact, quick peek at the income graph, and actually, I'm surprised. I thought this was going to be a lot more Solar heavy, but I guess between mule drops and Cure's own third base, he's actually been holding up on income, which is very surprising to me.
Well, it's only one part of the story. Solar is not really taking a lot of crew spread damage. And
No, but
his 5th base was denied. It is his 5th base.
yeah. Despite having the army supply lead, though, I think for Solar, like, he's not too worried about this because he's got A, Banelings, but B, upgrades, and he knows it. It's not going to have that 3-3 lead like he did versus Bunny, but he still has this 2-2 for a small period of time.
I think Cure has more tanks than Bunny. I mean, he should, right? Because he didn't lose 2 from the get-go. So even though he's working off only 1 factory, he's coming with this push that will get maxed out as it pushes with 7 tanks. 6, actually. I think he got someone home.
7.
Yeah, with one home. Yeah. But like he goes a little bit deeper than I would expect on creep, but Solar is not maxed out either. He doesn't have the Vipers ready to go either. So this seems like a little bold. It is okay, and he clears up creep spread maybe a little bit faster, although with so much, yeah, he needs like at least 3 scans, 1 for each direction.
It's a man who exudes confidence.
This is so dangerous, because even the tanks on creep, like, they just, I don't know, man. It seems a little dangerous, but Solar's not ready, so I'll see what it looks like when the engagement goes down. The top side of the creep spread, by the way, the right side is just not being cleaned up at all. Oh, finally, there we go. Here it goes. Here it goes.
Clouds grabs 2 of the tanks. Bailey's crashing through. You know, when we saw this before, too, it was off of creep, so Zerg at a disadvantage. Most of this fight happened on creep, so Solar had very little issue connecting to most of that army. But, well, the supply still favors Cure. We do have a swap up here, and that's because Solar's gone for Ultralisks, which I'm not sure I'm a fan of right now because there's no chitinous plating in sight and no chitinous plating in play.
Right. I even with chitinous plating, I'm not sure it's a great idea, as his army ends up taking the worst trade there. There was enough tanks, there's enough bio off of creep. There might not be enough support even for fully upgraded ultras, as the Marauder count has grown quite large. Godzilla once again wrapping in for the surround, partially off creep and then partially on creep. Not too bad, but the Viper was not there. Maybe go for an abduct. Actually, a parasitic bomb, but on a very easily microed medevac.
So here's where I do like the Ultras. I don't like them in this engagement, right? Marauders and Marines kite them around all day. I do like them for soaking tank damage, and ideally, you know, the Banelings and Zerglings live, but unfortunately, with that Ultralisk going down, there doesn't seem to be much hope for Solar. He is just bleeding out at this point. Anything that gets made is getting killed. It's dead on arrival. And with such a supply deficit now, oh my god, not an overall supply, but an army. Look at the army numbers right now, guys. This is looking really bad for Solar.
Yeah. This is looking like Cure's game. Yeah, he was able to do what Bunny didn't, which was take a very efficient engagement and then have so much left over. I guess very efficient is kind of, not true, but he had so much left over that he was able to keep up momentum, whereas Bunny was completely just forced back and then was quickly countered as Solar just overwhelmed him. Not this time. Very funny score crawler. How?
Yeah, I'm not sure when that got to the front line the way it did. Valiant effort, little guy. But GG's. Cure will tie the series up 1-1. And with that, folks, I'm just going to cut the jibber jabber. We're going to go straight to a commercial break. When we get back, it'll be game 3 to see who wins the round of 8.
at the sky. The sun won't ask for one if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask the world if it can rise.
All right, it's been tied up 1-1. It turns out Terran can win something today. Spawning in the lower right, though, it is the Red Zerg Solar on, is that Infinity Gaming?
Yes. In the top left, as the blue Terran for Janair, it is Cure.
Well, Cure had quite a very different feeling game 2 from game 1. I don't know how to describe it. Like, game 1 definitely was all about Solar having the power and the control. Game 2, complete role reversal. Like, as soon as he got going, he really got going. And I tried to highlight this a little bit, but time wasn't really of the essence for me in this case. But the army graphs for both players were just steadily rising at a similar pace. And once Cure took the lead, he never lost it.
Yeah.
None of those trades went well for Solar.
It all does go down to that one big engagement on a map like that, where it's, you know, obviously it can happen on any map in this matchup. If you both wait till you're maxed out, the Zerg player is trying to get those ultras, you're going to have one big engagement. That can happen. That can go favorably for one person or another, but the game continues on a map like Parasite, for instance. But on Fracture, it's like whoever wins that fight is usually the one that wins. We saw it versus Bunny, where, you know, quickly after that, Solar remaxed faster and then steamrolled him. And then we saw it with Cure, who had so much left over that he just continued pushing in and feel free to rally push on a map that small because, you know, what are they going to do about it? Even if they tried countering or run buying, rather, it's not that hard to go back and respond. So, but you go to Parasite, which just makes total sense for Solar to pick. It's a limited map pool, generally kind of considered a Zerg favorite map, and complete opposite of Fracture.
Yeah, Fracture's always a bit of a funky map. The size of it affecting like the walk distance of reinforcements and many other things. The higher chance to get proxied on it. It is a very different map to play on. But I guess we should recall that that was Cure's pick. So he came into that map with confidence, knowing which map that he was playing on. This third and final one is, of course, Solar's pick. So maybe a little bit of an edge to Solar in that regard. Either way, folks, like I said, if you are just joining us, whether it's coming from the front page or you're a regular StarCraft 2 fan in the first place, we are, of course, going to be casting 2 more best of 3s and 1 more best of 5. We have both of the semifinals and the grand finals still coming up after this game. And I hope that if you are coming from the front page, you'll consider hitting that follow button. Or at least joining us here in chat, because I don't know how long we have front page for today. But it's nice that we got some new friends. Also, rest in peace to that poor Reaper. Got a little bit greedy. Wanted that tumor really bad.
Yeah. A little scary. He didn't see the third base.
Didn't see the rain.
Yeah, he didn't see anything really. All important things have not been seen, but luckily for him, there's nothing on the way.
I wonder how much he goes into this blind expecting approaches too. We saw different strategies from Solar out of game 2 than we saw in game 1, but I think typically he's been a pretty heavy Roach player recently. And I wonder if Cure plays around that notion or if that's something he does wait to scout for. Because in this case, he didn't get to scout for it at all.
It's very possible that Solar chooses this map to also not go for Roaches. I mean, what do we see him do it on? Acid Plant and Cerulean. Fracture feels like it's, I don't know, in some ways it's good that it's small, in some ways it's not good. And anyways, but like Parasite is the longest map we have. I prefer Solar to not go for roaches, but he could. These Hellions would be scouting it if there's anything to scout, but they're actually just going for the drones.
Oh, and funny enough too, the queens are out of position, so if you leave the doors open, this could have been much worse with a luckier shot. If you guys don't know how this works, it's really annoying trying to shoot drones on a mineral line. Your angle of attack matters, but 5 workers go down, queens are brought off a creep, but as you said, to highlight again, Cure has not seen the third. He might assume because of the creep down here, but he's not seen the main either, and there's got to be so many question marks raised at this point. Like, what is my opponent doing?
Well, Solar got some good scouting, so once again, Spore Crawlers in perfect positions to take on Liberators, unless Cure's really microing them. Just a little bit of that map presence and harassment. He remakes the Hellions he lost, even though his intention is going to bio. Just make sure no Ling run by or follow up catches him off guard. Now, to use these Hellions to once again go for drone kills, I think is a bit risky. He might get the drone kills, and that'd be fantastic, but then you force them to make 40 Lings, suddenly they're on your side of the map, stopping you from getting a third CC down location. So I don't, and that was only 4 drones, so that, you know, that's 8 Hellions for 9 drones. Well, a distraction, I guess, for Liberator.
Even then, still a little bit costly, to say the least. I don't know if the risk factor is worth it, but he got an Overlord on top of this. Actually, supply block Solar, who does not have an Overlord on the way. So, hey, that actually ends up hurting a little bit.
Yeah. He does immediately send his Lings across the map. If you're a Zerg player and you ever take care of those Hellions like that, there's almost no reason not to send your Lings across the map. You either find a 3rd CC building and you can get enough surface area on it to cancel it, which is fantastic. Or in this case, you get to see that it's done, and you could even send your Lings to the whatever 30 ends up taking and try and deny it for a little while. Because Cure doesn't have any Hellions, doesn't have a lot of Marines quite yet, still waiting on that. But he's getting close to it, so all this harassment, keeping tabs on his opponent, getting some decent damage, all things combined, is actually quite good. And he is going to follow this up potentially with those medevacs. Now, this is interesting. As he scans the natural, very paranoid of a Baneling bust, I suppose. He's getting bunkers. Maybe afraid maybe roaches could be on the way, but it's not happening.
Luckily, this isn't too costly of an endeavor for him to do right now. And he could always salvage it too, but I just gotta give a quick comment to that Liberator. That thing killed a queen and a couple drones, but also a lot of the larvae from this base. Like, between this, the supply block earlier, queens being focused on spread, not injects, like, Solar's not hurting for larva or money yet, but if this keeps up, he will be eventually.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, if it was any one of these attacks, I don't think it's really that bad, but all things combined, plus whatever distraction it caused for Solar, it's pretty good. The drop, it comes in here, and if Solar had his army across the map, he would be in a 9 the 3rd base temporarily, but then he might not have anything to defend this, so his army's all the way back here. And Kira does end up getting his sort of on location, kind of no problem. Macro looks good, upgrades quite close. Hopefully he starts his 2-2 immediately, as does Solar. And I think the one thing you can really comment on is that Kira is not going for the creep spread, which is slowly encompassing the map, and that should be the kind of the next target for these drops. As he also sends a push down the left side.
Well, this kind of goes back to Fracture being a bit deceptive too, right? Like, the amount of creep spread Solar has right now doesn't look that great on Parasite, but it was amazing on Fracture.
Yeah. But then, like, 1 or 2 scans, and it looks like not amazing again. So.
Yeah. So he's going to push through this, by the way, and here we go, clear up some of that creep.
Widow Mines, by the way. Like, that scan did confirm that there were no roaches. He hasn't seen any roaches defend either, so it's like, okay, sure, that's fine. We don't have Hydras, but that's not something that Cure would know or not know at this point. That is just, we've been seeing some Terrans play around with Widow Mines again. Either for more of these type of pushes, or just they actually like them in Supreme late game scenarios.
It does tend to be a bit of a gamble. Like, a tank shooting more than 1 shot is pretty much guaranteed to be more damage than a Widow Mine. But the tank needs to kill the Banelings, or the Widowmine needs to kill the Banelings, and if the Widowmines get that lucky shot, then they are so very well worth it. Much cheaper, much more maneuverable than the tank, unless it's costly to lose as well. But nice cancel there out of Solar. Not going to lose the base, but drone goes to replace this immediately after.
Because he's going for Widow Mines, it makes sense for him to get the plating to help the Widow Mines and even the Medivacs. Now, he hasn't seen any secondary tech or tertiary, whatever. Like, Ling Baneling is all in, right? No Hydras, no Ravagers. I guess you can kind of count that. So he's probably figuring out the Hive is on the way. A bit greedy of a play for Solar for sure, not to get a Ling, Baneling, Hydra army first, or even Mutas on this map can do pretty well. But he is kind of backed up with that greed with all this creep spread. This right side got really out of control, so even though Cure quickly cleans up about half of it, he still has a few more to go before he can really pressure that base.
You know how Nice Username has this How It Looks, How It Feels series?
Yes, I do.
I was just thinking for like a lot of these pros regarding like trying to guess hive time. It's like how it looks. Oh, well, it's 9 minutes in the game. He's not provided a lot of pressure. There's a good chance to spend his gas and getting a hive. Ooh. Big Baneling surround. I was not expecting Cure to just stand in place for that.
He was busy with the run by that didn't end up doing anything.
Oh, God, that's really unfortunate. Bottom side almost gets cleaned up too. Picks up the Medivacs, but okay, that really hurts for Cure. It doesn't kill him, but that was a big amount of army gone. Not a trade he wanted to get out of that.
Well, it's almost so bad that I think he does just have to kind of... He already had a 4 CC, so it's, not terrible, but he just says, oh, okay, I guess, all right then, that's fine.
Gotta take a risk.
And he gets his fourth base up and running. He goes in kind of the late game. It's that bad of a momentum stopper.
Yeah. I guess finishing my joke.
Yeah.
So invested, yeah. So like how it looks, like they'd be all professional, like guessing the timings, but like how it feels is like Zerk's a nice fucking race. I bet they're on hive already. They probably had hive 5 minutes ago. Zerk's so fucking good. Like,
yeah, that's absolutely what it feels like.
I do like that he's putting Marauders out the front line. These will not be wiped away by Baneling so easily as his last army sadly was. But he's done a good job controlling that creep. It's unfortunately not been amazing because of the cost of that army, but up until then he was doing a good job, and even now I like that he's keeping at it because the last thing he wants to do is take another engagement with Solar on creep at any point.
Solar has a lot of these run-bys set up. It's a lot
nice
of lings. Yeah, even though the Widowmine was nice, it's still a ton of lings. So retreat back into a nice Sim City. There you go. But this is something that Cure really, I mean, what's he going to do to punish something like this? Well, I guess he's going to try and catch the lings on the retreat, but he tries to push in thinking that there's like 30 armor supply not around. There's still creep spread. Still got to clean that up. So you even get this base. Well, Zerg's getting to that point where they may even have another base off to the left side. So it's not exactly free. I don't want to paint it such a biased picture, but it's a really nice thing to set up for Solar. Even a distraction, even if all the lings die, a distraction if Secure tries to push on a creep is pretty gold in this game. So the scans even try and search for this. They want to see if they're taking the Banelings. They want to see if they're around. He misses the Banelings. A little awkward.
Yeah, I feel like Solar very intentionally just ran the lings over to, like, hey, look at me in the scan, and was hoping to catch him off guard with the Banelings, but Cure's not caught off guard with the Banelings.
Yeah, that's the distraction. So Solar might lose all of that run by, but he cleans up the army to the right side with a just massive surround.
Though, check the resources lost. Solar just lost a lot of Banelings to a couple Widow Mines in that engagement, and it's starting to really show through. For Cure, he's actually really far ahead. It's 227 Zerglings have died this game.
Yeah. That was ultimately better for Cure as he just immediately picked up. He was paying attention that time, unlike the last awkward fight. But it is another momentum stopper. It is the thing where like Solar is able to replace that army, as well as, I want to say he wants the Greater Spire, but he's actually not starting the Greater Spire. That is the most worrying thing for Solar, is that while he's doing all these great things with the like hatchery almost base tech he has, he's not advancing tech, and he really needs to.
That's not a wall, by the way. Both players just discovered that.
You're in a wall. No, that's a good point. I can't believe Cure is going on to +3 vehicle plating, by the way. Usually we see like maybe +2 and then on a ship weapons, if nothing else. But
I'm a really big fan of this for the air support more than the Widow Mines or anything like that. I don't think we'll even see Liberators be that big of a factor, but just like being able to soak an extra hit on a medevac can go a long way.
Yeah.
But it will also additionally benefit the Liberators too.
It's more just, I think it is, like, it's not a bad thing, not at all. It's more like you also have to afford the engineering bay upgrades, and usually just kind of forget about your armory upgrades for a little while. Yeah, it's good. So back to the, like, got to reiterate my point because you still don't have a Greater Spire on the way. Solar might be controlling the map and doing what he can to stop that gigantic Terran army from killing him as he's still working just mostly on Ling Bailing here, but he's also not getting that, I feel like, a backup plan, which is Broodlords, as he chose the Spire over the Ultra's Cavern. And with the amount of these banking, I thought that would have just been the case, the Greater Spire, if not both.
I'm sorry, he just busted lower supply depots in a wall that wasn't even a wall. There's just too much that was funny about that for me.
Look, man, supply blocks here, and he needs reinforcements.
Ooh, the Bailey's off the creep. Gonna walk into a wall of Marauders, so the Marines just walk back. And of course, Marines can survive now that the Bailings are gone. Solar disengages. A very weird turn of events on both sides for the engagement here. And I wasn't quite sure if Cure was caught off guard and would be distracted once again. But ultimately, Solar, I think, takes the worst trade. And the resources lost is really highlighting just how expensive these battles have been.
So Solar finally starts that Greater Spire, but as you can see, he did grab a couple of Corruptors to help deal with at least the medevac count. It's something to help out here, but they cannot help out with that natural crowned army.
Oh, that overstimmed army needs to not be clumped up. We're at the point where even the Marauders are almost getting one shot by the Bailings, but not enough Bailings left to crash through this. A lot of the supply now in Corruptors for the Sky, not going to be helping out with the Marines. And while there is an attack here on the left side, I mean, this is not much.
It's 3-3, so it has to be taken very seriously, but this time Cure's not supply blocked, and hopefully his reinforcements can deal with it. As he takes down this base, Solar is on another base to the left side, so it's he's still got a bit of a bank as well, but I feel like his insistence to stay on Ling Bailing might have killed him. The Broodlords are not going to be that plentiful with the bank he currently has, which is actually none now. And we do have some ghosts on the way as well, so they're not even going to be like easy peasy insta win, but this is on creep. What Kier didn't really want to do here.
It not only is a creep, Solar sacrificed Overseers to soak every single Widowmine shot there. That's the drawback to Widowmines, right? They've been getting great hits on the Bailings and they look like a crazy good unit, but then you also have moments like this where they're absolutely wasted going off on Overseers and Corruptors.
Yeah, that was a good engagement for Solar for sure. Still has some live creep timbers as well, active ones to spread back that creep. If he wants to, he could potentially give up this right side. No, he's gonna retake it. Okay, so he's gonna definitely want to respread that. The Cure might say, oh, that side's done, and might try and focus on the left side now, which, I mean, regardless, he is forced to take a chill pill. That's the time for Solar to get those 6 Broodlords, but we have the Ghost, we have a solid army supply for Cure. He could be offensive with this army and still perhaps take a decent fight.
It's like, I believe all white people should be out of Korea. Here's my army.
Well, there are some, I think it's older Koreans, I think that.
Yeah, actually, I got to meet a couple of them who were over there too, which is great. But one thing I want to highlight, is going to the army size. Solar took a small lead, like almost 10 minutes ago, but then Simpson's never recovered. And the army has always been favoring Cure. And yes, this is highlighted through everything we've seen, but I just really want to drive home the fact that Cure has not gotten lucky with an engagement. Like, every fight -1 this game has gone Cure's way.
Basically, yeah. But it's not just like pure numbers, of course, for a Zerg player versus Terran. It's the momentum that was stopped, or the amount of bank he was able to accrue during it, and it was fair enough. I still feel like Solar was playing a dangerous game, but I eventually did get those Broodlords, and now it's still like one of those, well, both playing dangerous games here, both really relying on good positioning and control. There doesn't seem to be a defensive Terran, and Solar just tries to break them like what we do see a lot on this map. So at a certain point, the Terran just says, oh, I guess I can't break the Zerg. I hope they run into me and throw their army away. We haven't seen that yet. So we'll have to see what an aggressive army like this looks like, and usually it's not great. I gotta be honest.
Oh no,
but
sorry,
Broodlords just literally walk into the army, so
no.
that's pretty good.
Every single one of them goes down. That's devastating. The Corruptors eat Widowmines too, so now they're too low to fight. Even the Liberators can kill these Corruptors in this situation. Oh, that was Solar's like ace in the hole, and it gets absolutely demolished.
He does try to collide in on this army on creep, but it's a very chunky army. You got Ghost, Banelings, Liberators, GG.
Whoa. Cure turns this series around, and he takes the 2-1 to bring it home.
Ouchie.
Now, this does mean we have a lot of Terran in the semifinals, guys. It's going to be Cure versus Trap in a TVP here on the south side of the bracket. And on the top side, we have Innovation versus Alive. I believe we're doing Innovation and Alive first because they've been waiting longer, but we'll find out in a moment. Either way, we got about 4,000 people tuning in at the time of me reading this. I know that fluctuates because it is front page time, but it's still cool to see a lot of people tuning in for some StarCraft 2. So good morning and hello, and thank you for joining us today. I guess I said it earlier, and I'll emphasize again, if you are coming in from that front page, though, and heck, maybe you've been enjoying the show, either way, what you should expect is just a couple of people who enjoy StarCraft 2 watching it with a lot of other people who also enjoy StarCraft 2. That being said, chat's been, for the most part, pretty good today. A lot of the time we get in the front page tends to be a little rambunctious. This isn't like a challenge or an invite. I'm just saying objectively it's cool. We haven't had to do a lot of modding this morning, so keep it up, guys. But yeah, we'll be casting both of these semifinals out. I guess we'll take a small break because that was kind of a long game. And when we get back, it'll be the first semifinal match. So thank you for watching the Olimoleague here on BaseTradeTV. All right, folks. Thank you kindly for watching those commercials. They do pay our way to do more StarCraft content, as this tournament is not sponsored or anything like that. This is just us showing up to cast some Korean StarCraft bright and early in the morning in the hopes of maybe a couple of bits or a couple of bucks through ads. So thank you all for watching. We are at... Nobody's allowed to sub today, by the way. We are currently at 1,337 sub points. However, if that number falls, I will absolutely have to start begging for subs. Either way, guys, thank you everybody for watching. But the players are ready. It is Innovation versus Alive. First map is Lost and Found. See you in game. All right, here we go. First of two semifinal matches starts now for the Olimoleague. Spawning in the upper right, we have the red Terran player Alive.
He was doing a lot of this last time we saw him on TVT. In the bottom left was the blue Terran. He is OO Gaming's Innovation.
Yeah, and his Reapers were working to the point where you almost thought his opponents weren't pro-Korean Terrans. But real quick shout out for the tournament, guys. If you like the event and you like what you're seeing here, Unfortunately, we do not send replays from this particular tournament out to our subscribers. I know it's one of the big selling points to subscribing to BaseTradeTV, even though we have over 1,000 subscribers. About a dozen of you download these replay packs, but whatever. I'll still do it for the dozen of you that do it. But however, we don't give out replay packs for this tournament. The only way to get replay packs for the Olimoleague is to sign up through their Patreon, patreon.com/Olimoleague. It's not run by us in BaseTradeTV. We don't touch or see the money at all. That is entirely Olimoleague.
But you do get all the replays, so that's always cool.
Yeah,
and
and if you're an up-and-coming aspiring content creator, these are some of the best replays you could go cast. Because God knows the English coverage of this event doesn't actually talk about the game.
Just Terran bias garbage, really. God.
Yeah, and me.
Nah. Well, you can't be too biased in this one for Terran. They're both Terrans. You get it. But I am kind of biased for innovation. He did really well with his double racks versus, I don't remember who it was, to be honest, but it was someone pretty good. And even if he didn't necessarily win the game right off the bat, which he shouldn't here, for instance, he still ends up getting enough of a good game to get a macro game going. So Alive is going for a factory expand, which usually sets you up pretty well. If you do this absolutely perfectly, like your micro is on par and you don't have like an awkward Reaper on the map, which he almost did, but he brought it back, then you can hold against this and have a decent economy. But he does take a lot of damage on that Reaper, even though he brought it back. He ran right into the Reapers initially.
It's super important he got this so low, though, because even if it heals up, it's going to be too low when the second Reaper comes to fight. So for innovation, as long as he doesn't eat like a really bad Hellion shot here, he should have a very clear like army fight win.
If he can get like 3 more SCVs, he also just is in a good position. Because even though Alive... okay.
Oh, he's got more health than the Reaper.
Yeah, Innovation wins that fight. Wow. So he's going to get those extra couple of SCVs. We do have a starport on the way instead of that command center that Alive was probably initially planning on going on. Not entirely sure. Marine pops out faster than a Reaper, so that ended up being kind of an odd choice, or good choice, sorry. That typing is odd.
I can't read Korean, but I hope it says you suck.
I'm not sure what it says.
Oh, Scotty B also just subbed, ruining the perfect streak, but I'm not going to complain because it's a tier 2 sub. We don't have many of those. Scotty B! Thank you for the 4 months, dude. I guess a bit of a textual standoff between the two Koreans as they assess the situation.
So we should as well. Now we have Innovation going for a faster command center, but he will be behind on the Starport / Viking that he will need. Okay, just combine the two.
Star King just sounds like a cool anime character.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, Star King is
God.
Well, okay, Innovation just wins here, I guess. That's cool.
What do? Set up a Liberator to chase Reapers? That's not going to happen. The Cyclone comes out. Even the Cyclone might not be able to handle this because if it gets tossed around with grenades, it doesn't get to attack. The SCV line's been pulled. There's the Cyclone, but oh my goodness. This has killed so many workers at this point. And with the faster CZ on the other side of the map, like, Innovation should be so good in terms of money and SCVs for this game.
Now, appropriately, Innovation's scared of the potential counter. A Cyclone accidentally just flies past them. Okay. Liberator, but he should still be fine. That Widow Mine's gonna really help.
Oh.
Yeah.
And there's the little laugh out of Innovation. GG!
Yeah, that's it. Innovation should still be fine.
Well, that went about as poorly as you would expect for poor Alive in that situation. Innovation snowballing a bit with Reapers and takes a quick game 1. In the meantime, Dehu donates $5 and says, "Keep up the great work, BaseTradeTV." Well, thank you, Dehu, for the $5. Also, apparently I missed Errol's... I didn't realize Errol donated to us earlier. I don't know how I missed that. Can I replay that? Will that work? There we go. Hey, Errol DM, I missed this entirely earlier, man, but thank you for the $13.37 2 hours ago. This is great intros, great casters, great games. The new Justin Medal. Everything is good. Well, it would be good if I had caught that donation. I'm not sure if that was just during a break or something. Totally missed that, dude. That's my bad. If you're still watching, beyond grateful. Thank you so much. We also had some subs I've missed out on because we've been hopping around these games and there's been very little downtime. So while we get into this next lobby, I want to give a thank you to TrollPod for the Twitch Prime sub. Fractal Cactal rocked out 2 months. It's more like Butt Trade TV, am I right? You know it. Crowman also has a brand new sub. Droid Trooper came back for 14 months, and then, like I said, we had missed that sick donation of $13.37 out of Errol. Thank you again for that, dude. As well as Dehu just now for the 5. I think that should hopefully get us caught up on everybody. But folks, no matter what it is, whether it's $1 to the Patreon, $13 in a donation, or just watching the stream, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it because it gives us good reason to be here. I mean, again, I know a lot of people are only from the front page, and that's cool, but still, like 4,000 some odd people joining us at what is 6:30 a.m. on a weekday to watch some StarCraft. That motivates me to keep doing this. That motivates me to wake up next week and the week after and the week after. So thank you guys for joining us. But let's hop in a blue shift. See you in game. All right, game 2 kicks off, and, well, somebody's not staying at home. Unfortunately, this guy is. In the bottom left, we have the blue Terran. He's down 1 at the moment. It is alive.
In the top right, as the red Terran, he is innovation.
All right, he is proxying again. Dad Rock Radio, again in chat, says, man, I wish they didn't give up so easily. I bet 1 out of 100 games they can get a comeback, and it would be worth it. Dude, Dad Rock Radio, you should look up a player named Fantasy. You might be his biggest fan and you just don't even know it yet. Because he's infamous for the quote-unquote Fantasy GG timing, where he just stays in the game till the end, pretty much no matter what. And yes, you are right. Probably 1 out of 100 games, he gets a clutch victory despite what should have been a loss.
Yeah.
The other 99 times, though, it's awkward and strange.
Yeah. I'm not even sure about the 1 out of 100, but... not important. What's important is the T-Rex is alive. You know, the setup is not bad against the T-Rexes. What is bad is, you know, whenever you send a Reaper forward, whenever you take the initial, like, too many shots, because that's what happened. Alive brought the Reaper back, technically the safe play. Got a Helen already on the way, which produces very fast and is such usually also a safe play. And he just took so much damage on the Reaper that it couldn't help. Even if the SVs were pulled, it couldn't help. It'd be targeted out immediately. So we're going to have to really pay attention to not his build order, which is pretty identical, but to the Reaper positioning and how fast he sees this and how fast he reacts to it.
Well, just before the attack commences, DeFreak plays one step with the Rattata Cup in the Archon mode versus Wardy. We are actually trying to set some stuff up for BlizzCon, because Wardy and I are going to be staying together at TwitchCon. We're going to be at BlizzCon for another week together. We're trying to see if we can make this happen in real life, guys, because you know it'd be more hype if we could. But yeah, I don't have any information. It's being worked on. Now the fight commences here, and the Reapers dive on top of this. But the problem is, if they get surrounded by the SCVs, as you can see there for a few seconds, it gets deadly and scary. He's gonna pick up the SCV that's building Starport. That's actually really nice. But he doesn't have that same snowball effect that he had in game 1. So for innovation, like, this could still work out, but it has not yet.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a big pickoff, though. Might go back that low Reaper.
No, jeez.
Oh, this is so risky the way he had dived in like that. 4 Reapers now. All he's got to do is make sure he's got enough health on these to not get 1 shot by the Hellion. They don't have to be full. They just have to survive 1 blast, and he's good to go. So Innovation might just dive back in here very soon. That's a risk. He doesn't know which side of the ramp. Like, you know these units are waiting for you. It's a bit of a gamble as to where you go up, because you don't know. And he will luck out with a gamble. Goes up on the left side. Hellions were not positioned for this.
He needs to spread a little bit. He already took 1 pretty damaging shot to almost every single Reaper, but he's going to go for the grenades. He's kind of getting low on them, though. I think it's the last one.
Uh-oh.
He's never Marines to support the Hellions as well. I think Alive has done a good job of stopping the snowball. He has a faster starport. He has a faster factory even. That's how late Innovation's tech is behind when he does this, and the workers are very, very even.
It's so crazy how black and white the difference is, though, right? Like, for Alive, just look foolish. Like, how does this build ever lose? Then game 2 holds it like a champ so far, asterisk, and might be better off for it. Because, I mean, Innovation's, like, tech is behind. The Starport's only just halfway done now. I think that if he pairs up the push, yeah, I think Alive should be okay. I actually really wish he'd pursue this. I guess he's worried about the Reapers hopping back up, but like 2 Hellions going underneath this Liberator, the sickest escort.
That's exactly what you have to be afraid of. You can be on top of the world thinking that you've defended, you have faster tech, you have a secure command center because it's on the high ground. And then 5 Reapers come in and instantly slaughter 10 SCVs before you can respond. You don't want that happening. You also don't want the Liberator getting sieged up here. So a couple of kills going to go down. Oh, well.
The Widowmine is a nice touch. I think speed and timing works out very well to deal with the Liberators in these cases.
Yeah. And you managed to save it because the Liberator dies, so Widowmine gets another shot. Hopefully. What? Okay.
Nope. Just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, well, it almost walks past, so it's...
Ooh, this is not a fight Innovation can take. He realizes this perhaps a little too late.
Oh, interesting choice. So the Cyclone War will... I guess it was going to be won by Innovation anyways, with Baron's advantage. But tries to go for the SCVs. He already got 4 with the Liberator. He's going to get 5 more. But he will have a later command center. Just slightly. Nah, 9 SCVs. Never mind. That is alive in the lead here.
I'm a little jaded by the Hellion choice. I think the risk was really cool. Like, if he had got a solid blast off of like 8 SCVs, this is like game-ending damage, right? But, yeah, this ended up being a little weak at the end of the day. I mean, it did good damage. Like, overall, like, yeah, the SCV lead is huge.
Oh,
the lock on the Raven. Oh my god, he gets out of there with 1 shot remaining, 4 health, alive, just like, ooh.
Oh, shit. That would have been a really nice pick-off. Totally worth even losing a Cyclone. Not all your Cyclones, but losing 1.
Yeah.
Whew, okay.
Now, I know this guy had wanted to stream live or resub live. Yui737, thank you very much for the 6 months. Says, yeah, would you look at that? I made it on stream. Lol. Yeah. You lucked out because this is one of 2 casts before we're gone for a week and a half. I'll be going to both TwitchCon and BlizzCon, and Zomgrab will be just going to BlizzCon. Are you running another Banshee tournament between now and then at all, or are you taking a break too?
I am.
To which?
I am doing a tournament.
Oh, okay. Like, are you doing a tournament or taking a break? I am. Oh, both? That's great.
I don't know.
My favorite comedic answer is like when people do ask questions like that and you're just like, yes. I don't know. I always think it's funny when that joke or trope or whatever it's called, it's like in a show or a movie or whatever.
Oh, this is looking a little awkward. Cyclones had lost their lock-on, I guess. Or just figured they wouldn't be able to do it. They figured Cloak would be done, but weirdly enough, a lot didn't go for Cloak.
Yeah, getting even more SCVs. I mean, Innovation's done a great job keeping up with this, right? And he's got a 3rd CC on the way, so he's not out of the game despite taking what is a grand total of 16 SCVs lost now. But man, losing a Cyclone to go with that was kind of awkward. Also, what is this engineer, babe?
Yeah.
I think this is gonna choke units trying to come down out of the main.
I feel like he made it after the Hellion run by, so maybe that's why. But this is not going to help here, that's for sure. Innovation, if he could hold this push, I think he would be on his way to recovery, but I don't hold. Well,
he's just going to Interference Matrix the tank. It'll be like all she wrote.
Yeah, and I don't know why Innovation didn't try and repair Cyclones at the last second.
On the auto turrets on top of this. GG. Yikes. All right, well, live, we'll turn this around on Innovation and tie the series up 1-1. The biggest question on my mind, though, is does Innovation proxy for a 3rd game in a row in this situation?
Sure.
Well, Matt picked 2.
I don't think he did.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Either way, guys, it's been about 18 minutes, so we're going to play another break here real quick. Back into Game 3, ASAP, and if the game gets started before the commercials are done, we'll play shorter ads. Don't you worry, I got you back, Twitch chat.
is shining, 'cause the light's not fair. I'm talking to my darkest shadows. This love is do or die, but they don't care. I don't know why I do this to myself. It's not right, but I can't love no one else, no one else. But I can't love no one else, no one else. But I can't love no one else, but I can't love no one
All right, we're back. Things are tied up 1-1 if you're just joining us in this semifinals of the Olimoleague. Of course, we have another semifinal match. Cure versus Trap still awaits. That's a TVP. Terran versus Protoss on the other side of the bracket. And as we get into this game, in the top right, playing for O Gaming, we have the red Terran, Innovation.
In the bottom left, as the blue Terran, he is alive.
Okay, so I guess because typically front page tends to end on the hour, I'm not sure if we're going to lose all you wonderful faces here in 13 minutes or if we'll have another hour. But assuming that we're going to lose front page time, again, one last time to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you'll consider coming to join us for the rest of the tournament because we are going to play this all the way through to the finals today. But also, excuse me, hope you'll consider just throwing a follow and maybe coming back in the future.
Procedure introductions. Well, he coughs out a lung. We did not have any T-Rexes happening on the map. In the bottom left is the blue Terran. He's alive.
Well, I went all cast without a particularly bad coughing fit, and then I think I just lost one of my lungs. Which is great.
Just pick it up, back up, and put it back in.
Pick it up and put it back in. All right, let me just... Hey, that did the trick. Thanks for the tip.
You're welcome. You want to do the other guy?
Nope. Wait,
No?
I already did Innovation. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We did the intros and then I lost my lungs.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Alright.
for those who don't know, cool story here. I'm not that sick anymore, but I've still got, after about 2 hours of coughing, my throat will get a little sore and collapse on itself, which is great. But you know what? I can breathe. I can sleep for more than 2 hours at a time. It's been awesome feeling better. Just in time to travel and get sick all over again.
Yeah, that would suck. Hope we don't get con flu.
I'm going to bring so much hand sanitizer with me. It's going to be unreal. But hey, you know what? We lost the sub because it happened as we went to the break. Manic Moment, thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub earlier, dude. 5 months running. OJ Tech just now comes back for 13. Says SC2. Good to see you guys. Good to see you too.
Hey, hi. All right, so no Tirax. Alive finally gets to execute his factory expand, I believe, to like, what he actually wants to do with it. Innovation goes full on one base Banshee.
Oh, hey, Zombie Grub just subbed to the stream. Thank you very much, Zombie
Yeah.
Grub.
As if people are going to agree that's me and not you.
Stupid idiot. Great
Yeah, okay.
name. Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. All right, so with no proxies in play, does Innovation even know how to play TVT? Let's be real, guys. This is clearly a player who needs that crutch.
Well, I think the time where we cast him, again, I don't remember who it was against, but TVT. Nope, don't remember. They T-Rex twice, and then he went to a macro game, and I think he won that macro game. So he does not need it as a crutch.
Your thinking sound is very reminiscent to me trying to coax a squirrel to come over and say hi.
That's how you do it? Really? It's more like, yeah, that's different. That's different than a... Almost like trying to...
I'm not hearing the difference. We're saying the same thing, man.
No way! What I'm doing has your tongue like... And your... Well, anyways.
Sorry, I like this response to me coughing up a lung. That's why you have 2 Rifkin. Yeah, that's how that works. That and livers. All right. We have the drop from Alive coming in with a couple of Cyclones. Unfortunately, Innovation won't be matched for this initially, but I think the Banshee plus the Cyclone should hold.
Two livers.
Well, okay.
Well, anyways. This is probably going to go in favor of Alive. Double Cyclone drop with the Cyclone at home to defend. Seems favorable for me, to me.
Yeah.
Even Reaper's getting in on the action.
That's gonna bring that kill count up to 10. Ooh.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
David! Thank you very much for the 1-year resub, dude! And, well, this does get cleaned up. This still drew the attention of Innovation away from his attack, making it even weaker on the other side. The counter just simply not there. And with 11 SCVs down in a mirror matchup of all things, too. I'm not surprised he daps out. That's the GG! Alive takes a 2-1 over Innovation and will walk on over to the finals.
Well done, Alive. Well done.
That's pretty sick for Alive, actually, in all honesty. But I make jokes about Innovation, the proxy, the crutch. I don't think he actually needs to rely on proxies to win, but he's been doing them so frequently. I actually sit there and I'm like, I wonder if there's a little bit of truth to that.
Maybe.
Well, that will send us, I guess, as swiftly as we can to our next match. I'm not sure if it's ready to go like right this second, but we have Trap versus Cure in the other semifinals, and of course, we then have a best of 5 grand finals. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Olimoleague, thanks to all of you who contribute to that Patreon. It boasts a $200 a week prize pool, and then of course a $500 monthly prize. So these guys stay are competing not just for cash, $100 for first place, 50 for second, 25 for third and fourth, but also more importantly points, because those points are what get you invited to tomorrow's monthly finals, which has the bigger prize pool. So you could win all these weeklies, that's fine, but of course you'd have to win all 3 to be worth more prize money than the monthly finals. So it's really worth getting there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Some people are already shoo-ins, having won tournaments in the past. I don't know who though.
So I didn't even catch this. As soon as we got out of the game, did you see Ryung just spam laughing in the chat?
Yeah, Live said something. I don't know what.
Oh, I thought he was just laughing at Innovation because they're like friends. Like, ha 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 ha, way to lose. Like, dude.
I don't know what that.
All right, well, we're getting into the game now for the other semifinals. First map's gonna be Lost and Found as we go back to it. That sub sound, that's the sub sound for every time it's a 1 year. So 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it's got a special sub alert sound. David says, yay, real life part 2. Well, maybe. David, are you gonna be at TwitchCon or BlizzCon? Because if you are, I can hook you up. But if you've, I guess not everyone knows, we've been talking about this, we've been posting about it everywhere we can. When about 7 or 8 months ago, Canada changed its postal system to the point where it costs literally twice as much to send out part 2s than it did before. So we're kind of at a bit of an impasse as to what to do about it. 7 months I've been looking for a solution, and 7 months I haven't really found one. So all real life part 2s are in a bit of a hiatus, but if you guys happen to be going to an event that I'm going to or something, like, I'm very happy to bring them with me and like give them to you in person. But it's not something like, again, I've got, like, Zombie can attest to this, I got literally bags of these fucking things. I don't want to keep them. I'm not trying to hoard them for a treasure chest. I want to give you the part 2s. I want to give them away. We just got to find a effective way to do it.
Don't you want to put them all in a treasure chest and then put it, bury it so that it becomes
increases
more
in value?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ron Swanson tactics. Ron Swanson economics.
Yeah.
Make sure myself I can show you the bracket. You know what, dude? Because it's you, I will skip the intro and we can go over the bracket together. Let me just get this pulled up real quick.
That's very nice of you.
All right. So this is what the games have looked like so far today. We did a lot of casting here in the southern side of the bracket, so we don't really know what a lot of the top side looked like, but some good players making it through. Alive had to take on quite a few players to get here, same with both Trap and Cure. That being said, if you want to see more, guys, you can just type /brackets into the Twitch chat. Let's get into game. It's already underway. Spawning in the bottom left, we have the blue Terran, Cure, who is not going to be staying at home.
What a surprise. It's not right. There's the red Dreados. He is Trap. Wait, is he also Junior still?
I believe so. I haven't heard of him leaving.
What teammates?
Or departing.
Teamies.
I'm not sure if he still is. I know Trap was staying with SOS for a period of time. I managed to grab it. I didn't even know this. We grabbed an interview with SOS, and Trap was just in the background playing. And he's like, oh yeah, he's always here. I'm like, oh, okay.
Do they have to share a room?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what the situation is. But the point is,
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was still engineer, because, yeah. There's not really a reason to kick these guys. I don't think they're being salaried anyways. There could be. I could be wrong. I actually have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, so I won't say anything further. But they just don't do a good job of using actually their clan tags. But they could be partners. They could be teamies, and he would know. I mean, they both would know their weaknesses and strengths. Kira is apparently one of the hardest workers on the team, constantly playing, constantly being practice partners, constantly grinding out a ladder. So he's pretty high up there on the ladder. But he still falls to a lot of different people. Never quite reaching the heights of Amaru. Feels bad. But he certainly knows how to proxy. And he has hidden his proxy pretty well. It'll take away from the speediness of it. 2 cyclones won't suddenly appear at Trap's doorstep. But Trap won't know that it's 2 cyclones. So that, is potentially a good trade-off.
Well, if the surprise factor's there, it's one thing. But then it's just the raw power of the attacks. Like, even if you see it coming, not necessarily easier to defend against. Either way, a Zealot and a Robo is a good combo of things to start. I think we see this really commonly, right? Like, a blind response to proxy is just a Robo, because pretty much anything you're proxying is going to get dealt with by that Robo.
Pretty much. Stargate can work out, just not against what Kira is doing this game. So it would be a bad gamble. It works out against starports. It works out against, the factory back at home, but it doesn't work out against double cyclones. Of one I've seen anyways, very rarely. So it's a good thing that Trap does go for the Robo, because that is, I think, the best way to deal with the cyclones. To get the high ground shield battery, get an immortal. If it dies, hopefully the second one's right on the way. And you should be pretty good. And again, that trade-off, Trap doesn't know it's double cyclone, but Kira has to kind of come from farther away. Good timing on the SCV pool, though.
I like what Sharkbait said in chat. Too long to read, but much appreciate, dude. But a smile on my face as the Cyclones get across the field. Now, this is a beautiful start. It's just a freebie pylon. It doesn't seem like much, but that's a possible supply block coming up for the defense.
It's not quite going to block the second immortal, but Trap doesn't have the minerals to start that yet. He gets on the low ground immediately, and while 2 more cyclones can definitely take on a single immortal, we do have him going for War Prism. Really mixes things up with a micro.
Lands the command center because reasons, I guess.
Well, it might be able to block something. Who knows? Nexus is going to be temporarily targeted. A lot of damage went down there, but then going for the immortal, exactly what you should do. And that, oh god, the War Prism wasn't out yet. It is now. But that was at the cost of a second immortal.
Oh, it's a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus. These SCVs have done a great job preparing these Cyclones too. They're going to try to chase that down, but they can just turn and shoot at the immortal. I mean, they are projectiles. They can technically be dodged, I guess. But the War Prism does go down. No more dodging for this guy. Snipes off that one Cyclone. A Marine is about to spawn. What is this, innovation? He triggers the barrier on the immortal.
Nicely done. Very important there. Second immortal is about to pop, but it's up against 3 Cyclones in a repair, so I'm not sure it's going to be enough. This instantly target down that weak Cyclone, but now the probes would be pulled. This is close. I don't know why Trap's getting an observer. I really don't know why he's getting an observer.
Maybe he's worried about a Cloak Banshee following this up. It wouldn't matter either way. GG, I love the question mark. He doesn't even understand. He's just like, GG. Well, that's one way to go down. Anyways, I didn't want to bring this into the game, but just to address this because Doctor has brought up. Look, guys, I have had about a dozen streams where we've talked about this. There are reasons that are reasonable why I can't do some solutions that sound easy for the Partoofs. And while some things are great suggestions and I appreciate them, like bringing them with me to convention, it's just not practical, and I don't want to go into like a big discussion for the millionth time. I'm just worn down by this argument. So at the moment, the way our current solutions for the Partoof system are looking to go, and this isn't to say this will be how it goes, is we either give them out for a later date more than 12 months, because like I said, the whole point is it's got to be cost efficient, right? There's no point having you sub for a year if it costs us more than what you subbed for a year. Like, we'd go broke and not be able to host any tournaments, right? So we're either going to extend it to be like 18 months or something, or say that if you reach 1 year, you could pay for your own shipping if you want it shipped out immediately. Those seem to be the most decent solutions, I guess, to the situation at hand. But again, until I post something publicly, either be it through Discord or some message, like, it's just on hiatus, and I don't have a better thing about it until then. So unless, I don't want to sound rude about it, but I'm just not interested in hearing the solutions, because it's the same solutions that get suggested every time for the 100th time in a row. So don't take this as me being upset at anyone for suggesting things. I just don't want to get into this again. So with that being said, let's hop on to Blue Shift. See you guys in game. Question mark? All right, we're back into it. It's game number...
I'm sorry, was that Roman numerals?
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself. Dying. Game number 2. Hopping into it. In the top right side of the map, we have the blue Terran player, Cure.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, he is Trap.
Yeah, I feel like an old man. Like... perfectly fine. Hit the 3-hour mark. Now my lungs and my throat just won't. They aren't working so good. So if you guys are hearing this awkward pauses, it is because I am just muting to have a pretty hardcore cough session. Sorry about the awkward pauses.
Yeah, he's got the mute micro, but then it might sound a little awkward if you don't know what's going on. Speaking of awkward, I have another proxy. Cure, it ended up working out fairly well for him. I think there was a couple of just, hindsight 2020 on that War Prism as opposed to second Immortal, I think. And then that Observer was just like kind of a big question mark. I don't know if he would have won if it wasn't an Observer, because an Immortal takes so much longer to pop out. But still, there actually was a situation where Trap had all the right tools, except he didn't have a shield battery. I guess that's the caveat. He did not have a shield battery, and that was maybe the biggest problem. I think actually you could definitely make a strong case for that. But what you got to do now is, second proxy. Is it the same proxy? I don't know. Trap doesn't know. Well, I guess I know, but Trap doesn't know. And he has, kind of a low chance of directly scouting what proxy it is. But I'm glad that his probe is doing this whole like loop around thing, because at least it sees the factory is at home.
Yeah, I guess. Excuse me, for Cure, it is very much an odd position to place the factory, and you are hoping, I guess there's a little bit of a gamble that your opponent doesn't go that deep to scout. They immediately pull out and look for said proxy. But in this case, it worked out well for Trap. The Reaper also does not get a lot of damage done, thanks to this wonderful Zealot and Adept combo. And Cure is not dedicating as hard as before. But I say that with a bit of an asterisk, because even a Cyclone coming from a factory built at home can get across the map and do a significant amount of damage.
The Stargate, I said it last game, where if it's not the reactor Cyclone, I think it can be a good response. I think some Perdosses have even been like a lot more preferable to trying to force the Stargate response as opposed to the Robo. But I still find it very tricky. personally. Like sometimes it looks great, looks fantastic, they control it all well, and it's like, oh, perfect response. And other times it's like the Oracle dies to a Wood of Mine, and then the Cyclone runs in the natural and goes like it still is a little bit tricky. But we are in one of the least committed forms of a proxy for TVP, so it might just look like a normal game from here on out.
I really want Kira to be super all in with this, by the way. Like, the engineering bay coming down, I want to see that fast +1. And I want to see him just push with these barracks instead of play defensively. There'll be a big scout for Trap when he gets over there if the Oracle hopefully gets through to the main. Might get deterred at the natural.
Hopefully. Wood of Mine is in the main, so it could probably get up there. Trap has been in favor of the multiple Oracles. Maybe a little conservative with his Adepts because it was a bit of an odd start. Seems to be the case even. He's keeping his Adepts back home. He's got Stalkers coming back home. It's just about letting those Oracles peruse the map. And even if one of them dies, we'll at least get some decent scouting. Actually, the Zealot, I guess they have nothing better to do, so it's Scout of the Natural.
Drunken Archon, I want you to think really hard on the dumb question you asked. I'm not even going to time it out. I just want you to take a moment and think really hard on the question you asked to see if you can figure out an answer on your own.
I feel like that one is a little more obvious than some others. Can I rate them?
What? You think it's not an obvious thing as to why the word sprinkler is banned in chat? Or why people can't type camera?
I don't know about that one. Nice control the Oracles to save a lot of the health on it. The Zealot really had high hopes to be useful in this game without charge.
Well, I mean, he still ended up being useful, though. I mean, his role was to stop the Reaper from snowballing in the mineral lines early on. So. I mean, right now, useless, yeah, but was very useful early on.
Okay. Yeah.
The Oracles come in, they could probably one of these Cyclones, probably not both of them, though. So it's a smart move to disengage. Breaks the lock on in the process too. Now we got a Stalker or two coming up in the front line. So many Marines though. I'm really not too worried about Cure. Even with Stim still not being done, he just has a nice bulk of units.
Maybe another trap being set up. He's really living up to his name today. The army chases after such a tempting looking army, especially if Stim finishes and then gets trapped in the stasis trap. Too many traps. And then can be taken on at only half the army cost. But it's not really working out that perfectly, is it? He's losing Stalkers to non-stimmed Marines, and oh, he noticed it. Nicely done there, Kier. Oh, the boom!
Ooh. Oh, he's gonna run into this one though. We got a little overzealous. But the thing is, what's great is actually the fact that all of the Marines got caught instead of only half the Marines getting caught means there's no real threat to losing an odd chunk of them. So. Like, yes, this was a good escape mechanism for Trap. It was his back door out, but it doesn't really stop Cure. In a few seconds, he's still going to have twice the army supply, and he's still going to try and push. And this time, he's actually got combat shields and Stim ready for the attack. +1 on top of this. I mean, even with force fields on that ramp, even with these stasis traps being where they are, stopping Cure from dealing damage will be a very difficult task here for Trap.
Yeah, very good point. He definitely was hoping for more of a split on the army so he could take it out one by one, and instead it's just a full, twice as big army supply type of Terran push. Now, the force fields can do the same things the stasis traps are going to try and do if he baits Trap up the ramp, or Cure up the ramp, but Cure wisely just breaking down the rocks, opening up a different pathway. Oracles actually try and get some damage done to the reinforcements, which is not a bad idea with them. Maybe they catch Wood of Mines, I think, is probably the best thing they could take out. Oh, and Marauders. Okay, yeah. Makes sense.
He dives in really deep for this.
Wow.
That was uncomfortably deep, but the upgrades, the Cyclones, he still breaks through.
Was it too big for you, Rivka?
It was so big, Zombie Grub.
Okay.
I'm not going to walk straight for 2 days.
Jesus. Oh, maybe a step too far there.
I was talking about his penis. What were you talking about?
That ended up being not a fantastic push by Cure, but not... I mean, if he survives any counter, and there's no counter, so I guess he's good to go. Like, that was a bit risky. Just a tad. It ends up working all right. Oh,
Online Strategy DK, thank you for the 100 bits. We also had a sub come in. Johnson Rod 80. Perfect name for the current topic of conversation. Thank you for the 8-month resub. And Printer Hands came in for 46 months. Thank you, Printer Hands.
Thanks. Oh, you pesky oracles. Supposed to live.
Well, the drop is full of Widow Mines, not Marines, so there's some burst damage potentially on the way, but not sustainable damage. So if Trap dodges and doesn't sit here complacently, I think that this should do minimal damage. But he did just pull the army away.
Something to distract, something to see where the army is. As Trap pulls a lot of his stalkers to the main base, aware of a potential drop on the way. He does not notice the army. Okay, now the Zelnaga sees the army, but there's not a lot of defenses at that third base. Trap is just too busy paying attention to the harassment.
I mean, the beautiful thing is none of the probes are here either. They just transfer them all away, right? So he's not going to lose workers to this, which sounds silly, but though it brings it back. Dangerous.
Yeah. That Archon is going to get...
Oh, I got the shot off. That's huge. That was so much shield damage.
That was a bit of a backbone to this army, but the Marines, funnily enough, not in high enough numbers to take on the Oracles. And here comes some more charge lots, but here comes also more reinforcements and more Widow Mines. Trap desperately trying to get to that storm. Did he have... No, those are the only Archons, the only High Templars he had. So there's not even anything to use the storm here.
Oh, that's devastating for Trap.
I think this might be it. The Micers are going to be way too good. Look at the amount of Marauders, man.
Yeah, the type of units here really matter the most. The Marauders are just chunking through everything. Even the Zealots can't keep up with it. That was a great way to sacrifice an Oracle for some friendly fire. That was done intentionally out of Trap, but even then, still not enough. Well, he really needed some Storms. He really needed something else in this mix, but right now, desperately warping in Zealots. He's trying to stay alive. Maybe should have just given up the third base. I don't know. But the point is, there's like an 80 army supply to 20 army supply. There's the GG. And Cure, with a 2-0, moves on to the grand finals.
Ooh, for a TVT.
Yeah, this is not even innovation either. This is Cure versus Alive. This is a very different TVT than I was expecting. Not disappointed, not upset, just different. And I'm excited to see how it plays out because, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Cure's TVT. So we're going to go to a break, scheduled for 2 minutes. When we get back, the grand finals, one last series to cast. It's a best of 5. See you soon. Hey guys, the lobby's not up yet, and I'm gonna go refill my water. So we're just gonna leave the break screen up with music for a little bit. But as soon as the lobby's good to go, we'll be back with the grand finals.
The sun won't ask for one if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask the world if it can rise. Look at the sky. The sun won't ask for one if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask. The sun won't.
All right, well, hello once again, everybody. So we are getting into the grand finals now, Cure versus Alive. I am going to make my prediction. It is a best of 5. I'm going to say 3-1 for Cure.
Okay. I don't want to be lame and say the same thing, so I'm gonna say 3-0 for Cure.
Ooh,
Oh.
look at you go with those predictions. Well, we're going to start it now on Cerulean. See you guys in game. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and respond to this in chat, but I'm going to say this on stream too, because this is kind of an open invite to players only. But Kelazur is asking, hey, what's the BaseTradeTV Discord? Well, at Kelazur, are you asking for the public one or the player only one? Because if you guys don't know, and this is not like private knowledge, but it's private invites, we've set up a Discord now for players specifically because, frankly, there's a lot of bullshit on our Discord, which is great and good if you're a fan of the game, but not if you're a player looking for tournaments and strictly information. So, happy to give you an invite to either or both, Kelazur. Just hit me up and let me know. But anyways, we're in game number 1. It's a best of 5 grand finals, and in the upper right, we've got the Red Terran Alive. But of course, he's not entirely in the upper right, is he?
In the bottom left, as the Blue Terran, he is here. Alive is gonna go scout for this. So. I mean, he's not gonna see the T-Rex, but he's gonna see it in time enough to try and respond to it.
I look at how things went with innovation, and Proxy Reapers look so convincing. Like, really good players died of Proxy Reapers, which is insane to me. But obviously it is hold offable. I'm not sure why I'm saying that with an accent. But you can hold off Reapers. It's not the end of the world, but it's something that's, if it catches you off guard, it's really difficult to do.
Yeah, and you still aren't in an ideal scenario if you scout it when you're trying to 1x expand. you still have kind of like an awkward gas timing. Your factory can like I think its only option is to produce a Hellion instead of maybe like more of a safe Cyclone. You obviously don't have as many units, just simply put. So it's always a tough beginning. If you can survive until that factory starts producing, then maybe you got a shot. And this is already a good start. Now, Cerulean Fall, not a very good Reaper map. There's no Reaper hop-up spots except for the one that Kira is currently blocking with a bunker. 2 bunkers, actually. And then even then, you usually have eyes on where they are and are close enough to respond to the Reapers.
I really like the additional use of the bunkers here, because if it is a Cyclone follow-up or something, as it sometimes is, these would actually help hold against that too. But obviously they just physically block the hop-up spots, plus give safe spots for him to sit in. So what's best is he doesn't even have to pay attention. He can actually just focus on his macro, not missing an SCV cycle, things like that. But as far as his SCV on the map, is this... Somebody's going to take a hidden base. He's just looking for other proxies. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you can find the proxy, like another proxy, sure. Or if you can just find the 2 racks and whether or not they're consistently producing, you kind of get a feeling of, are they going to try and backstab me? You know, just keep their 5, 6 Reapers somewhere and come back later. And also, if they're not doing that, then maybe they're trying to get a faster expansion. And you do still have to worry, no matter how well you deal with 2 racks. We saw it with Innovation. We're seeing it here. There's still a chance that they come back. They better at build order. They go for the command center and deflect whatever push you do. So you do need some decent scouting, even though it feels like you have the absolute upper hand. You did not expect so many Terrans to go through. The Olimoleague on the Korean server. Sweet child, sweet child.
Yeah, last week was so many TVTs actually. It was nice getting a little bit of flavor with Trap, but that series was over and gone so quickly. I almost feel like it wasn't. But there's a lot of variety today. Like we cast a lot of TVZs, that TVP. It only really was like these 2 matches where we got TVTs. And that is a little odd. I'm not in a good or a bad way. It's just very different. So it's kind of nice having some variety.
It is. But it's usually Terran. Luckily, I like TVT. And here loves TVT. He's doing a very good job.
I'm actually really curious on this, like, obvious troll question, but I used to remember a few years ago when BaseTradeTV used to be a German channel. When did Rifkin take over?
Yeah.
Look, on the off chance that this is a serious question, I'm really genuinely curious how you came to this. Considering I made BaseTradeTV, and it has been English from day one, I'm not sure where that impression comes from.
Is it, you know, in Parks and Rec, where she, like, Leslie Knope is explaining all the town's names, or slogans, rather, in the history. And at one point, it was Hail Hitler, because they thought Germany was going to win World War II. Is this like some, like, did you go through a German phase, Rifkin? Did you think you were going to a foreign language, and you're like, gotta hop on that German train?
No, you know what? I just realized maybe it was when I broke my arms and he first met the stream. It was Caddington.
Oh, the secret Hitler spy who actually wasn't English.
Whoa, you always assumed it was Hitler. I thought that was fucked up, dude. He had no connections to Hitler. Okay.
Wait, I thought he was English, and then he revealed that he was a German spy.
He's part of the Third Reich. Just not associated with Hitler, okay?
Oh, yeah, my mistake then. My bad.
That was a bastard cat if I've ever met one. Not that I had, because he was here while I was gone, of course.
I love that that guy was like, oh, I really thought that was legitimate.
You know what? It's better if he does, I think. All right, we'll reminisce on past moments later, guys. 3 Siege Tanks would be terrifying if it weren't for these 2 Ravens. And with Interference Matrix being so powerful, there's no way for him to really fight. SCVs also get a surround. It's a poor one, but it's a surround on the Reaper.
I was gonna say he's taking the fight. I didn't expect it to go so well. I thought I was gonna try and snipe the Ravens, but landing the Vikings, even though it wasn't a mostly mechanical ground army coming out for alive, it was just barely enough to really push through. Tank DPS not bad either on Siege.
Oh, that Liberator's huge. Just gonna push the tanks back. And as Alive keeps pulling back, Cure will move up, and with his own Siege Tanks will eventually be in range to truly threaten this. And while Ravens are good, they have to wait on a lot of energy right now to do anything about this.
Yeah. Alive might just be screwed. I mean, he was starting to recover in the fact that he was getting ahead on SCVs, the faster command center, but he was always going to be at an army disadvantage. Ooh. And in this case, he was at a positional disadvantage. This is such a good position. The tanks are not focus firing. Some of them were, some of them weren't.
Well, I really like the auto turrets on the back lines. I think were a great move, but now he lands the Vikings to even take that tank out. Liberator holds. That's it for Alive. Cure has absolutely won this game. Natural base gets lifted, but doesn't matter. GG. Cure takes game number 1.
GG.
I do like this combination of things, though. Someone in chat said BTTV is Base Take TV.
I like...
That would be the good mashup, I think. Yeah.
It would be, but someone's like, he confused it with BaseTradeTV because of TV, and I'm like, God forbid he confuses anything else that has TV at the end. All right.
What else could TV even
Everyone's
stand
TV.
for?
I know, right? 2 vacuums. I would figure.
That base guy took 2 vacuum. Base Take TV. And I guess, because there's a lot of people who weren't around when I broke my arms. Funny enough, yes, that did really happen. Secondly, because I couldn't wear a shirt on stream, because I couldn't, like, put a shirt on, but I could still talk and cast, I would just use this, I don't remember what it was, face rake or something. It let you just basically have a 3D model follow your mouth movements and stuff. So, there was some, my favorite was the little dog with the big mouth. The little bowl. Do you remember that guy? Anyways, it's blue shift for game 2. Let's hop into it. Zombie grub can sometimes, you know, if you look up the definition of doubling down in the dictionary, you'll see her face smiling right back at you next to the definition.
Smiling? That's a stretch.
All right, it's game 2 in a best of 5. We're still here for the grand finals. He's up 1-0. He's the man in the top right. It's Cure.
In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, he is alive.
What's the show about Man in the High Castle about? It's about ruling Europe. Saber Sarahs. I love that answer.
I haven't watched the rest of the series. I know like season 3 recently came out.
Yeah, it was a wake up call because I remember being so stoked I couldn't wait for season 2 because season 1 has that crazy cliffhanger, right? And then I saw it come out and I was busy at the time and I never got around to watching it.
Yeah. No spoilers.
I know they look terrible on cars.
I know, really, they really do. But it kind of amused me that Japan was kind of like the nice guys in that show. I thought that was really, I don't know. Weren't they? They were. Well, I didn't watch the complete series, as I said, but like they were the ones that were like, I don't know if we should do this. We should make sure this guy doesn't get into power because he's like the worst amongst everyone. I mean, none of them great, obviously, but.
I guess in any situation where you're comparing one party to Hitler, then yes, the party is always going to be the nice guys.
That's what I meant about the nice guys. They were the nice guys of the bad guys. They looked at each other and said, "Are we the bad guys?" And they looked to the Germans and they're like, "Oh, not as bad as them." So, which is kind of like actually like not even. It's like the opposite of what truly happened, but anyways.
I feel like we should, as intentionally as possible, distance ourselves from the topic of Hitler. But before we do, I gotta ask, do you watch a show called Preacher by chance?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then let's definitely take a step in the other direction. Not a goose step, just a regular step.
You want to talk about Mussolini or Stalin or?
Personally, Winston Churchill. Him and Teddy Roosevelt were kind of badasses.
Apparently, Churchill was widely disliked until World War II. And I feel like I learned that recently. I don't remember why or how, but I did. And now he's considered like one of the greatest.
He was a lush.
You know. Was he? Was that it? I don't think that was it. I think people just didn't like his policies.
Actually, what I always find really interesting is like, of course, it is like history is dictated by the winners and all that, right?
Yeah.
I wonder at what point like you start seeing pivots. Like for example,
Pivot.
I'm not saying it would happen, but okay, World War III happens. I don't know. Japan wins. Does everyone suddenly forget like that? Like how do you rearrange it, right? Like rearrange history.
Well, considering how much Japan has actually kind of gotten away with how much they have themselves to rearrange history, or
Well, okay, I should rephrase it. I mean, like, how many generations does it take to lose the information that everybody already knows, right? Everyone knows we won World War II, but like, how many generations does it take for a different side
apparently
to phase that out?
only like 2 generations or 3 or whatever it is, right? Because you have not Nazi sympathizers, but I was thinking of Holocaust deniers. There you go.
Oh
So
god,
it
that's
doesn't
right.
really take that long, does it? It's just, but your question is more like how long does it take for like the whole mass of civilization? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even believe. I can't. We gotta get away from this topic because I'm gonna get ranty, and if I get ranty, then people who make comments get mad at me. So we're gonna, even though it's the last time we did this with anti-vaxxers, we're just gonna put a stop on this for now. We know who's stupid. We know who's not. We have an attack coming out of Alive. I think Cure's got a pretty adequate amount of units to deal with this. The Raven is the most appealing thing here, obviously, as it can cancel out one of the Cyclones. But as far as like an actual numbers to numbers battle, unless this tank gets some serious shots off, he's outclassed.
I wouldn't have even minded the tank being not sieged for a little while there, but it does get a nice shot as it sieges before the Cyclones can move away. So Alive is doing some SCV damage, also his Reapers once again backstabbing.
Yep, 5 workers is good to start. This has evened up the count at least, the bare minimum. But one of the big things is as the Reapers head out, they do know that there's a 3rd CC that was started up, so he starts his up in turn. And okay, this might not have been a crazy push with the Cyclones. Gotta really highlight that it could have been. That was something where, like, if the tank's out 5 seconds later, this doesn't hold.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you up against someone who goes for more than 2 Cyclones, hell, even more than 1, right? It's like, maybe I should have gotten a bunker. It can end in very silly fashion. But if you have a tank on the high ground, usually it's okay. And it was something that Cure dealt with, even though he ultimately took some damage from it. We do have also a mech versus bio scenario. It's fun. That's fun. Alive throwing out the mech. Not usually a mech player in my mind, so we'll see how he works with it.
Yeah, I actually remember specifically criticizing some of his mech builds because when he started doing it versus Zerg, like I want to say even just like a year and a half ago, it looked really unconvincingly bad. But of course that's a different matchup, different time, and TVT is a whole nother beast. But I think mech in all matchups gets its greatest power from the larger armies. So smaller engagements like this early on, I don't think this will even break the tanks. I guess with a couple interference matrices actually it could. So this is actually really scary for Alive. His Raven needs to be out here to interference matrix, counter interference matrix, if you will. But 4 auto turrets to buy some time. I mean, he's just got to wait like 5 seconds, right? The big thing is once these wear off, the tanks are better against the Cyclones.
That was scary for sure. The best case scenario is maybe interference matrixing the Raven before it throws down any, but the auto turrets were a solid backup plan. And he did have a decent number of units supporting the tanks as well, so it was one of those, well, maybe it wouldn't have ever gotten truly terrible. But a very nice holds. Cure's still down 4 SCVs, taking a bit faster to command center, having a good army supply as well. And Alive is at the position, if he oversteps, which I feel is very close to happening, he's still at that weak moment of mech where you really are kind of depending on your Cyclones to be your anti-air. You don't have a lot of tanks or even a lot of production. So this... it feels like Cure might get the better end of this if he goes right towards the natural. As he holds against the Cyclones over here, Alive just doesn't have much army.
The Marauders work out really well with that tank combo. And I mean, now you can bring those to the front line too. What is this? Okay, it's just scouting barracks. Yeah, the tank's set up. They get interference matrix. A little rough here, but so many SCVs die to only take out 1 tank.
This did end up going so much better for Cure, and
Oh, that scan was huge.
It's crazy how effective, how important Alive's transition here was. How much he wanted to just keep Cure back at home, pinned back. If the Cyclones were here helping defend, that might still not have been enough. Simply put, his tank count was high enough. He really wanted to have another 30 seconds to a minute of being able to produce, and Cure hit that exact right timing. Is probably going to win the game from here. Yes, he is.
GG. Cure goes up 2-0, but guys, it's not a best of 3. It's not like the previous series. He does have to win one more to actually lock this down. So, see how this next game goes. We're going to go to a small break before that, though. Sorry, I'm still dying here, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Look, BaseTradeTV's got your back, guys. It could have played a full 3-5, been a dickhole with the ads. No, we cut them short so we could get in the game and not miss any of the action. As we get to map number 3, it might be the last one. Let's hope it's not the last one, though. As spawning here in the lower right side, we've got the Red Terran alive on his last life.
The top left is the Blue Terran. It is Kier dominating this TVT, but man, you say dick hole, and I'm like, is it a dick hole, the hole on the dick, or is it the hole in which the dick goes in, Rifkin?
Okay, I'm gonna have one of those. When did I say dick hole?
You just you're like, to be, we could have been a dick hole.
Oh. Oh, my use of language.
And I'm like, huh, well, an asshole is a hole in your ass, so.
I mean, it's a really sensitive, possibly painful part of the body, so don't mess with it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm not going to worry about it anymore.
At any rate, this is something that's tough. I'm a big fan of Alive. He plays in so much stuff. We've seen him be a badass. We know he's not as powerful right now as he was in times past, but I mean, consider his TVT that got taken, his TVT that it took to get here. It was him versus Innovation. If he could take down a player like Innovation, you'd think, oh, well, surely he could take on somebody like Cure, but it's just really not the case. There's something special about Cure and TVT. And like, no, Cure doesn't have a perfect track record. Obviously, people have enjoyed shoving that in my face when I'm wrong about calling his games, but I think it's a safe bet. Whenever you see Cure in a TVT, I would bet Cure.
Well, it's working out really well. I'm feeling confident about my prediction.
Well, thank you for the 300 bits, Diesel, throwing some rat-a-tat in my ear.
Thank you. So 1 base to 1 base. Hellion to Cyclone. They're going to go for the faster starport. Actually, he's going for Command Center. Alive should be 2. A little bit later. Pretty even stuff here, but the Cyclone's obviously going to win the ground war.
Cyclones are really powerful. I mean, we're past the point in the game where they were the default, but man, there's a good reason that they were the only thing Terrans would do for an opening for like what felt like half of a year. It was just Cyclone versus Cyclone. DVT was the worst. Someone earlier in the chat, I was gonna answer, but we got caught up in the game, asked like, what's your like favorite mirror matchup to cast? And like that has shifted a lot. I would honestly say, I hate to say it, I really do. But I would honestly say ZVZ right now, I'm enjoying a lot. TVT for a while was probably the best mirror matchup, but then when Cyclone vs. Cyclone was a thing, it was like pretty bad and like tainted my taste for it.
Yeah. I feel like TVT is still my favorite, but it is swapped. Like PvP used to be this really fun little like mixed rare occurrence, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. But now whenever I get to see it, it just feels like if it doesn't end between 5 minutes and 8 minutes, it goes to that +2 timing, and it's like so predictable. First 8 minutes not so much. Next 8 minutes definitely predictable. So I've actually grown to not love it as much, but. As far as mirror matchups go, I actually like all of them to watch. It's just playing is... Well, that mule is mining nothing. Whoa. Anyways,
You know when TVT was the best?
People will argue that it never was, but yeah, go ahead.
When you could pick up tanks in a medevac.
Yeah, right? That's what I thought. Some guy posted on Reddit, like, when did Blizzard decide to have Engineer Base not float between the, developing StarCraft 2 and the fact that they float in StarCraft 1. And I said, I don't know, but them putting it so that engineering bays weren't required to build missile turrets in Legacy of the Void beta was probably the best thing ever.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I mean,
exactly, it was so good.
In fairness, though, they've tweaked the Oracle and other units so it's not as necessary, because man, it was broken as fuck. Legacy of the Void for Protoss was either really broken in a bad way or really broken in a good way. It just depended on which balance patch it happened to be going through.
Yeah, it was quite the balancing act, literally. Figuratively, whatever.
I think the best one, though, was when units warping in took additional damage. It was a cool idea in concept, but so bad in practice. You could kill a Zealot full to death with just like a Zergling attacking it. Like,
yeah. That's how we won some of those Archon matches, to be honest. Zerg was the most consistently overpowered in Legacy of the Void beginning, so we took full advantage of that.
Yo, we did hit. I do remember like the two greatest accomplishments, right? I wouldn't even put like getting GM up there, but it was kind of a cool thing. The best one though was it was as Terran. We beat that guy who was stream cheating as overpowered Protoss in that current patch, right?
Oh yeah, thanks Supernova for the ghost build.
Yeah, I know. I'll never forget that too. It was such a good day. Like I've never had such a high feeling off of a victory in any game ever.
Yeah, but I was remembering like versus Protoss, there'd literally be 2 Lings in the main base, and they'd warp in Zealots, and because the warp in damage was so crazy, 2 Lings would constantly kill Zealots. It was great.
Yeah, there was one of the ones we played against, I think, Maximus and Puck when we beat them in that one. Because Puck could just get warping in. I'm just like, all right, let me just take these Zerglings over here, have a fun time. But
it's pretty amazing.
Legacy of the Void beta was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it, despite its ups and downs, even though I was frustrated more than not. At any rate, guys, the game's where it is now. Neither of those races we mentioned are in this matchup, and we got 2 Ravens looking to get a lot of possible interference matrices off. The problem is if Cure counterplays this properly and like he sees the fully committed attack, he could also just cast interference matrix on the Ravens and nullify Alive's attempt to get an advantage.
This is a good decision. The tanks, if they are re-siege, just get interference matrix anyways, and well, yeah, he wanted to bulk everything up together.
He's abandoning his army though. Oh, he didn't think about this at all. He's like, oh, I'll get a tech lab or 2 at the cost of everything.
I'm not even sure having that army, the air army around would have, I guess a lot of auto turrets would have helped. Like, I guess there is that, but the simple fact was that Kira had a bigger army supply that was not entirely dependent on positioning. He had a lot of Marines to get that concave, and Alive just was not actually, I mean, he was bound to be cleaned up. It just happened faster than he was expecting. Now he might just die.
That Raven was a little too close to the front lines. He really wanted to get more of this done through the tanks. But you know what? Like, while this might not actually be a game-winning move, it still kills so many SCVs and breaks 2 of the tanks on the way out. I mean, let's not forget, Cure can also pick up and just get out of here. Or just pick up and keep going, I guess.
Exactly. It's a short map, so he can instantly rally all of his Marines over here, although usually not advised in this matchup. This is one of those situations where you clearly have an advantage. I mean, Alive finally has those Ravens back. They took the long way around. They have some energy, but he's taking the SCV damage. It's just too much, I think.
Whoa, that was a really bold move. It didn't work out quite for Cure the way he wanted it to. he was going to sacrifice the tanks to get the Raven. He did get one, but not both. Either way, he's still in a very clear lead. He's got 1-1 already finished. He lost his combat shield timing, which totally sucks, but it's not like Alive had an advantage. His has only just begun as well. So realistically, at the end of the day, Cure's just up 30 or 20 something workers.
Liberator Cross is going to help out a little bit. We also have Alive with something to the north, so he's going to try desperately to bring this game back, but he is behind in SCVs, he's behind in upgrades, he's behind in combat shields, he's behind in the third base even being put down, so he's, you know, he's producing 3 SCVs at a time at least, but certainly not mining super efficiently. That just gets cleaned up easy peasy. This is not, I believe in the power of comebacks in this matchup, but not against Cure.
Not against Cure, but also look at that. Oh, that income graph, man. That is it. Normally not this bad in a TVT, or at least it's more back and forth. But I said 3-1 in my call because I really do believe Alive is a good enough play. Again, he beat Innovation, right? I think he's good enough at TVT. He should have been able to take a game in the series. I'm not going to be upset that it's a 3-0, though, because I'm still a big Cure fanboy in this matchup. So this is, oh, God, this is going to be brutal. He comes in from the right side, too. The tanks are distracted with the top side. Just too many units to fight with. The 1-1 is huge. The tanks go down. That's it for Alive's army. GG's. And that's going to be all she wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, Cure will be your Olimoleague champion for the last Olimoleague of the month. Or, well, the last weekly Olimoleague of the month.
This guarantees like both of these guys into the finals, though.
Yeah, it's the difference of cash and prize money for today, but yeah, so while it's not on the schedule noted anywhere, guys, it was recently changed, like recently, so this was kind of the announcement of it. Tomorrow will be the Olimoleague monthly finals. Now, Zombie Grub sadly will not be here for that. I'll probably, like I said, just end up solo casting it, but that'll be at the same time, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern, and whatever time it is for the rest of the world. I don't know, do your own conversions, but it'll be 8 players invited based off of points that they've earned over the last few weeks. There'll be $500 or more up for prize money, and should be some good times. So I hope you guys will consider coming back for that. Sorry, what's this? UPS. Oh, this is the pins. Yeah, so all those pins I ordered, I was really actually hoping to show off on stream today. Unfortunately, they got delayed by 2 days, but I've just got confirmation that they will be here by end of day. So tomorrow morning, I can show off handfuls of cool pins they'll be handing out at TwitchCon and BlizzCon. In the meanwhile, though, guys, I guess we'll do our plugs before we take off. So Zombie Grub, thank you again for joining me as always. Been a pleasure. What and where are you up to? People can find you, all that stuff.
You can follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming, on YouTube and Twitch, Zombie Grub. I'll be streaming later today, maybe a bit later than usual because I got to go to a doctor's appointment. And casting Ballistics tonight. I'll be streaming the rest of the week until Friday-ish. Banshee tournament is this weekend on Saturday, but I'm actually not casting that live. I'm going to gather replays and do it at a later time. So I guess it's really to be announced, but if you're a woman and you want to sign up, I guess you still have to play that day. So that's that. And that covers it. I'll be at BlizzCon next week.
I got a question about the Banshee tournament. And this is more of a curiosity thing, and I swear to God it's not a trolling thing, right?
Okay.
How do you vet the people who are eligible? In terms of like, do you handle that personally, or do you just hope people aren't going to be jerks about it, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that hope that people just aren't jerks, but basically there's a, like, everyone kind of talks between each other in the Banshee Discord, and there's a lot of like confirmed women by other confirmed women type deal. And if one person that no one knows were to make it into, like, you know, the payouts, then I think that would be maybe when suspicions arose, but it really hasn't been a problem yet. So that's cool.
I hope it never will be. I was actually just curious though, because I've never really, I don't know. I know there's a lot of hullabaloo about it, but I was just curious though. Thanks for the answer. Well, best of luck with all those things, and have fun at Ballistics. And I guess, yeah, I'll see you later, Zombie Grub. For me, guys, before I take off, because I'm not extending this, I would love to extend this and do other stuff, but as you've heard from my throat, it appears 3 hours is my limit, and we're pushing 4, so I'm good. I'm done. I'm sorry. And I wish I could do some more. I've got a replay I got to cast too at some point for somebody, but my voice is pretty much gone at this at this stage. So maybe I'll try and get it done tomorrow. I don't know. But thank you for joining us today. The best thing I could ask you to do is follow their channel. Check out Twitters of both myself and Zombie Grub. There's not really a lot of big projects going on right now. We just finished up BTSL Season 2, which was awesome. I gotta do some planning for Season 3. Ting Season 5 is currently going on. That'll resume after BlizzCon, of course. But other than that, just keep watching StarCraft, keep joining us on the channel. Consider subscribing. I mean, we didn't get that many subs today. That's okay, but consider subscribing if you want to get cool benefits and support the channel, all that good jazz. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day doing whatever you're doing, and let's go find somebody to host. I'll look for this while I go play the end of stream commercials. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.